Welcome to the GameChanger 00100 show. I am your host, GameChanger. All right, so normally don't go live on Sundays, especially a beautiful California Sunday afternoon like today, but I decided to do it. In fact, I'm so unprepared for this because I didn't plan on going live Sundays that I did not prepare a short of the day yet. But while I do that, I wanted to just bring up a thought that was on my mind. I was talking to Bernard yesterday. By the way, he's doing fine for those of you who are wondering. I was talking to Bernard yesterday, and I was just telling him a story. I tell Bernard stories that I don't really tell y'all. And the reason why is because these stories would run the risk of somebody figuring out who I am. Like if I tell a large group of people. So, some things I just tell Bernard, some things I just share at movie night, because if I tell everybody, somebody, who know me but haven't placed a voice yet, be like, oh, wait a minute, I was there when that happened. And, then next thing you know, I'm exposed. So, but I was telling him the story and he was asking, like, why did the person behave that way? And I was like, the only conclusion that I can come to is that Black women collectively get off on forcing Black men's standards down. Because the truth of the matter is, and I know that you've all experienced this, and I don't have to go into details for this, but you ever notice how some fit Black women, quote unquote fit Black women, want to be fat? You ever wonder that? Some fit Black women want to be fat. So they could walk around with this, large and in charge confidence thing. Because really what they want to do is they know that at that point, any man who's not overweight himself, who is with her, standards was forced to be down. And really, that's the only power of the sisterhood. That's the only thing that was gathered from the sisterhood. They were able to collectively force Black men's standards down. And brothers, don't act like the standards haven't been collectively forced down. Don't don't pretend like you don't see these ridiculous relationships all the time where, what the hell? In the hell? Okay. Damn it. That was all right. So I guess no short of the day today. Cause that, yeah. Anyway, that had music in it. But anyway, they get off on it makes them feel powerful to force the man's standards down. And that's really what they spend a large majority. And it's not a difficult thing to do. It only requires, say, mass rejection, limiting options, and putting the man in a situation where he can't leave. So if 10 women get together and say, "Ooh, I like this guy, he's attractive, but I don't want him to know that he's attractive. So I want all 9 of you to reject him harshly. And then when he feels like crap about himself, he'll get with me." I mean, that's the gist of what they're doing, just on a massive scale. On a massive scale. So yeah, hit that like button. We're going to just get into the show, because when I tried to find a short of the day, well, let me see. Actually, I'm going to go in my history. I'm going to go in my history and look for one. People are asking about Bernard and Little Big Nate. I did ask about Little Big Nate, and as far as I know, it's nothing really wrong. The reason why I asked about Little Big Nate is because this is his day. This is his time. This is the culmination of everything that he works for, that he has been working for, as far as getting Black people, particularly Black men, to embrace the Republican Party. So I'm surprised that he's not here taking a victory lap, considering that they have done so in record numbers. So I've asked about Bernard, about Little Big Nate, and his answer is Little Big Nate's business. So we're not going to get into that. But yeah, Bernard, however, he should be going live soon. I think he's going to start doing lives again soon. So to give you an update on that. All right, let me just go to history, see if I can find a short that I already seen, so I don't have to risk. Oh, wait a minute. What is this? What is this? Oh, and it's a short. Okay. I haven't seen this, but I don't think it has music because it's a comedy thing. This is the white guy saying getting hit on by black women. So I'm curious. I am curious. I'm curious about what he has to say about getting hit on by black women. I'm curious. All right, so let me set this up. By the way, if you want to be placed in the matrix, go ahead and send a Cash App super chat or become a member to be permanently placed into the matrix. And by permanently, I mean as long as you're a member. All right.
Who, me? Other experience I had when I was single was that black women had the ability to make me feel good about myself in a way that nobody else. By a handful of black women, yeah, when I was single, and every time it felt better than any drug I've ever done in my life. It's just the things they say, the way they say it. It turns me into a child. And they'll be like, "Oh, you're one of them fine white boys, huh?" And I'll be like, "Who, me?" It's fucking incredible. One time I was in New York City. I was walking down a New York City street, and a black woman, she was staring at me hard. And as we crossed paths, I turned around to see if she continued to stare, and she did. And she goes, "You're just so handsome. That's why I'm looking at you like that." And my white ass just went, "Thank you." And I kept it moving. But I was high off of that shit for a month, dude. For a month, I was walking around like I was a comedian, I think. Which has nothing to do with her thinking I'm hot. That's just the level of power behind that shit. I've been told I was attracted by white women before. It's not remotely the same thing. White women tell me I'm hot, I question their judgment. A black woman tells me I'm hot, I believe in my dreams. That shit is incredible.
Huh. Now that's interesting. And I think the most interesting thing about it is he admittedly kept it pushing. Like he just took the compliment and moved on. Meaning that he's not really interested in these women, but he is getting off on their interest in him. I find that fascinating. And he actually believes black women when they say that versus white women, which kind of tells me how he thinks about himself. He thinks that he's not attractive enough to attract white women. He believes she must be lying. This must be some type of a hustle. This must be some kind of a scam because I'm not that attractive. When a black woman says it, he thinks he understands that, there are a certain amount of default points that's given to white men by black women. And there is. Let's not pretend like let's not be obtuse about that. There is a number of points that black women give to white men just for being white men. So does that translate to him being more attractive to black women? Yes. Does that mean he's attractive? Possibly not, considering the way white women, considering that he questions it when white women does it. You know something? I'm not even going to say that there's a number of points that black women give to white men. I will say that there is a number of points that black women take away from black men that they don't take away from white men. I'm going to repeat that. There's a number of points that black women take away from black men when judging his overall value that they don't take away from white men. And I'm not going to get into how many, but it's substantial. It is substantial. All right. So let's get into the main video today. Now, this video comes from Soraya Brooks. And I was watching it thinking like, man, she is really, really, really just constantly on these Black women's head. It's ridiculous. All right. So okay, I want y'all to pay special close attention to her titties. I want y'all to pay special close attention to them. With those alone qualifies her for the attention of many Black men, wealthy or otherwise. And they're likely to be natural, meaning that she's had them for quite some time. So she always had the attention of Black men, but let's just listen to her complaints for a second.
Who gain success, influential Black men who gain success, like rappers, for instance, and they date white women. It sends a message to Black boys that Black women are not good enough. We are only good enough to support them, to give birth to them, but we're not good enough to marry and share our wealth with. That's what Black.
Okay, let me stop right there. In many cases, you're not. Let's start there. In many cases, you're not. In fact, in most cases. But worse than that, how often do you see Black women sending the message to Black girls and really Black men as well, and boys, that Black men are not good enough to bed? How often do you send, you and those titties, how often do you send that message to Black men? Think about it. Think about how often, think about how many guys she rejects on a regular, because she's very likely single. And I'm not talking about just in passing, just cold approach, even though she does that as well. I'm talking about on Tinder, on Instagram, on pretty much anywhere people see her titties. How often do she reject Black men? Average and above. She's sending a message to them and those who are present when it happens, but she's sending a message to more than half of the Black population, the Black male population, that they're not good enough to sleep with. So why care at that point?
Men are saying when they gain success.
One of the main reasons why some wealthy Black men decide to be in an interracial relationship is because they know that they would only attract a certain caliber of women who is only interested in their money and not themselves. Another reason is that some Black men were...
Okay. Shout out to Soraya Brooks. In fact, I should have put her name in the title. But anyway, shout out to her. Now, what she's talking about is it is mighty suspicious. And it is. It is mighty suspicious when the women come around after the success. Like by that point, yeah, I don't think Black women realize how they look after that. Let's take Tupac, for example. And Tupac did get crap from Black women, older Black women who were in their 40s when he left this earth. They were saying, why is he with that, they was talking about Quincy Jones' daughter and stuff, but, that was back in the day before mixed women became black. Now Kamala's black. You know, it's weird. But anyway, they were giving him flack for that. But he says in his songs, I clowned around when I hanged around with the underground. Girls they used to frown saying down when I came around. Like he said that they didn't treat me well when I was coming up, and he became successful at a very young age. So he didn't have to go through like years of medical school, you know, being dissed and disrespected by black women before he realized and remembered that this is the treatment that you get pre-success. And then if there's a drastic change afterwards, men not being that stupid, they're going to say, okay, this change is due to my success, meaning that the women who are here now are only here due to my success. And therefore, I should tread cautiously. Somebody said white women do it too. Okay, here's the thing. Chances are, if you black, maybe that's not so true now because society is more integrated, but chances are, if you're black, when you are poor, you are getting rejected by primarily black women. Is it possible that if you were poor in a white neighborhood, you would have gotten rejected by white women? We don't know, because most black men on the come up have done so in the black neighborhoods, which means that these black girls had every chance before. Now he can't say that. He don't know. He don't know that if he grew up in a trailer park somewhere next to Roseanne, would Roseanne's daughter have shot him down. He don't know that. But he do know for a fact that black women did. He knows that for a fact.
So sick and tired of being rejected by women who look like them when they were in the process of becoming wealthy. So they were not at that finish line yet. They were still working on themselves.
By the way, her husband was on the come up and he was in a white society, or he was in her social circle somehow. And should I finish the sentence? Like, didn't she pay for his plane ticket? So should I finish the sentence? We don't know if white women do it too. We just know for a fact that black women did do it.
Working on their careers, going to college, getting their degree. But those women who looked like them didn't want them because they didn't have the money that they have now. Meaning all those women who rejected some men while they were gaining their money and getting their career, now all of a sudden are interested the moment that man becomes who he had planned on becoming all of the time. That is the reason why some wealthy black men decide to be with non-black women. Do you see the shaming tactic that...
Oh, by the way, I know of a chick who personally rejected Ryan Coogler. You know, the person behind Fruitvale Station, the person behind Black Panther 1 and unfortunately Part 2. You know, writer-director Ryan Coogler. He's from out here. And I do know someone personally who shot him down before he became who he is now. Now, he is married to a black woman who didn't do that. So you see, like, maybe y'all should really just think before swiping left. Just saying.
this young woman is trying to use? Besides, why does it become an issue when a black man decides to be in an interracial relationship? Why is it even a topic? Why is it a problem? Why does he have to be called names? Why does he have to be someone who hates black women? That doesn't even make any sense. Besides, why don't we talk about all those black women who are married to white men? Why is it women empowerment when they marry non-black men? It's all about you go girl. Black men don't know how to take.
Well, she's picking up on something. With the whole black women and this woman empowerment when they marry white men. The reason why they're doing that is, once again, they like to lower black men's standards. They want to create a sense of urgency, and scarcity amongst black men. So, I'm telling you, black women cheer every time they see a black man reduced to a subpar black woman. That's their only goal in life. For many of them, their only goal in life is to reduce a black man's standards down to nothing.
Take care of home anyways. How does that even look? To me personally, it seems like some black men have turned away from some BWs because of their personal experiences. But on the other hand, though, some BWs seemed like they turned against black men.
Okay. It's not some. It's a cultural norm. I repeat, it's not some, it's a cultural norm. That's just like saying some zillennials like to vape. No, that has become a cultural norm. It's a defining characteristic of that particular generation. A defining characteristic of black women's culture is a disdain for black men. And that's because it's in everything that they read and watch and hear. It's in everything that they read, watch, and listen to, this disdain that they have. So naturally, they're going to grow up with that.
And here is the difference. Let me just get into this real quick. When you turn away from somebody, there's still a possible chance that you're going to go back. If the other party is willing to talk with you, work things out, negotiate, and maybe even sacrifice. But when you turn against someone, that means you're full of hate and you're always like this. You're not receptive to new information because you're like this. How you're going to receive something when you are in this combative position? You have the need to be right all the time. You are the victim. You're using shaming tactics and all of these things. That's the slight difference. Let's talk about black women who have been married to successful, internationally known, wealthy black men for decades. How do you think it was possible for those women to stay married to those men, be introduced to a certain lifestyle, and enjoy a certain lifestyle? It's not because they were combative. It's not because they were disrespectful. It is not because they were only interested in the man's money. It's not because they only expect that money to support a certain lifestyle so these women can show off on social media that they are on a yacht just, drinking champagne with their girlfriends, spending the man's money. No, these are women who came together with these men way before social media. And they probably don't even have social media today because these.
What she's saying is true. When you do think about the black love situations, they do consist of women who got with the dude before he became famous. It is very difficult. It is extremely difficult to get a wealthy, famous, and handsome man to settle down. Like, you have to stick out like a sore thumb to all the women who wants that guy for just one of the three reasons. Like, it's easy to be the girlfriend of a high school basketball player. It is difficult to be the exclusive girlfriend of an NBA phenomenon. It's buy low, sell high. I mean, they don't get it. They have a currency. They have a certain currency with their anatomy. Now, they want to spend that currency. They want to buy high and then sell higher, which is ridiculous.
These women are understanding, they're supporting, they are submissive, they are helping a man to get where he needs to go. So why don't some modern Western women take notes from a woman such as Denzel Washington's wife or even Samuel L. Jackson's wife? I'm talking about women like them. Classy women, beautiful.
Notice that she didn't say Angela Bassett. Notice that she didn't say Angela Bassett. Now, it's very important that we note such things. And the reason why is because she mentioned people that don't have names outside of their husbands. Because that's how she sees wifehood. So you got to pay attention to stuff like that. Angela Bassett has a name outside of her husband, Courtney Vance, who she's been married to for quite some time. But she sees true wifehood as a woman who is not known by her own name, but known by her husband's name. Denzel's wife is really only known as Denzel Washington's wife. I don't even know her name. Same with what did she say? Samuel L. Jackson's wife. I don't know her name, nor should I. It's really not any of our damn business. But we do know that she is a loving, supporting figure in Denzel Washington's life. She also didn't mention Michelle Obama, who I'm going to get into later. She also didn't mention Michelle Obama, who makes it a point to that her name is known. I mean, what's Joe Biden's wife's name? You ever think about that? Like, some presidents have these wives that just push their way to the spotlight. You know, they make it sure that their name is known, but others don't. What's Kamala Harris' husband's name? I mean, like, some people are just
women who stand by their men going through thick and thin? Is it because it requires too much discipline? Is it because that you may have to be submissive? Not maybe, you're going to have to be submissive. Is it because of that? Is it because women just don't want to be submissive or be disciplined in a relationship nowadays? Of course, it is easier to point your finger at a Black man using shaming tactics, having the need to be right, and blaming everything on a Black man. That's not the way you are going to be in a relationship to begin with, and that's most definitely not a way to stay in a relationship.
It's showing self-hate, because if you don't love your own mother, you came from your mother, so you should look up to her and worship her as beautiful. But since you don't own your love.
Oh, they have really put a number on Black men from birth. From birth. From birth. You should worship your mama. And you should worship and look up to her as beautiful. That is sick. That is sick. It is sick that they have a requirement to be worshiped. It is sick that a boy should find his mama beautiful. That is the definition of Oedipus complex. That is twisted. And they wonder why they stay losing. That is twisted. That is twisted for you to think. Hit the like button, people. Dropping knowledge. It is twisted of you to think that a man should be so enamored by his mama that he wants to recreate it. And they never really say when they do this, if she was a good mama. I'm going to repeat this. They never really say, she doesn't have to be a good mama. She just has to be your mama. Ever notice that? Listen, I'm going to say what I know everybody is thinking. Most Black mamas are trash. Most Black mamas are trash. Many of them live off of the, big mama reputation of yesteryear. The back in the day mama. The it's okay mama. The sweet potato pie mama. The collard green mamas that Kamala pretend to be. Most of them Most of them, you know, they live off the reputation of that. But most Black mamas today are trash. Listen, if you want to be a good mama, the best thing a mama can give her kids is a father. Point blank, period. Kids that a mama can give her kids is a father. The best thing a mama can give their kids is a father. But not only do they fail to sustain the relationship, so you know, just for the sake of, you know, I have a father, or excuse me, they don't sustain a relationship just for the sake of, so the kids will have a father in the household. They don't care about the kids enough to put up with the toilet seat being up. So that alone will will make them the worst. The divorce rate, how often they push men out the house, how often that they just use men for his genetic material to have the kids, so they can get on welfare. Yes, most are trash, but they feel it's kind of like, just by showing up for a class, I should get an A. Listen, being a mama isn't enough to make your son want a woman like his mama. You actually have to be a good mama. Okay, somebody says something interesting, and this is quoting Tupac. You always was a Black queen mama. You see, but Tupac didn't go after a woman like his mama. Did he? He didn't. I mean, you know, like how many crackheads do you know of Tupac dating? It's, you know, like, as much as these dudes talk, they do not go after women like they mama when they mama is trash. If anything, they go after the exact opposite. And sometimes even their physical opposite.
Of your own mother, you're worshiping white women, and it sends a message of self-hate. That's what it sent.
Once again, she is using.
I hate it when Black women say self-hate when it spans two different genders. Like, unless you Black men are 80-year-old Black women, then it's not self-hate. Or however old your mama is. It's not self-hate unless you are an old Black woman. And no Black man is an old Black woman. So it's not self-hate. I don't think they know what self is. But let me ask you, is it self-hate when you reject a Black man? Because that's not self-hate, right? The thinking of these women is spectacular, and they constantly tell on themselves. And this is the ultimate result when you're dealing with a group of people who think that they're a lot smarter than they are. They tell on themselves all the time.
A great shaming tactic. You hate your mother, you don't love your mother, which is the reason you turn your back against your mother and all other Black women by.
Oh, and by the way, they're using this tactic on elections right now. Like, they're using this. Oh, you don't love your mama. I can't believe that Barack and Michelle is using this tactic right now. You don't like your mama, really?
Marrying a woman that doesn't look like you. What does one thing have to do with the other? Somebody please explain in the comment section, because it does not make any sense up here. She's talking about self-hate. Let's talk about a couple of signs of self-hate that a lot of women do nowadays. Wearing weaves, making their skin look brighter and lighter than what it's really looked like, using all of that makeup. But to be honest with you, that goes for all women, because you do have a lot of non-Black women who get surgery done to get a Black woman's features, such as a BBL, lip fillers, and they even get surgery on their nose.
Okay. Lip filler, yes. BBL, no. And this is something that has to be made clear. Black women do not have the patent on booty. Booty? Booty? Yeah, they don't have the patent on booty. And I'm starting to believe that they never did, and that there probably isn't a genetic marker that gives Black women rounder patooties. And by that, I mean booties. For example, all right. Okay, so here's how it all started. It all started with that Sir Mix-a-Lot song. I was alive when it happened, and I do remember Black women's reaction to that song. And what their reaction was really of the sense of, I have something unique to offer the male population that Black men want. This is my sexual leverage over Black men, or advantage, I should say, over Black men. And that is, they like big butts. I got it, Becky don't. And by the way, that song was the first time they introduced the word Becky as a, catch-all for white women. But they're like, okay, this is something we have. This is something that men prefer over us. And, I believed it. It wasn't too many white girls that proved me different. So I was like, okay, maybe there is a genetic attachment between, the gluteus maximus of a Black woman and the gluteus minimus of a white woman. Maybe there is a there. And then I got older, and then something else happened. A significant cultural change happened. And that is Jennifer Lopez. By the way, y'all should know that I am not I like it, but I don't love it. I'm not a gluteus maximus guy. I'm not a gluteus maximus guy. I'm going to repeat this one more time. I'm not a gluteus maximus guy, meaning that I'm not, I appreciate it, but it's like it's really like last on the list of stuff that turns me on about a woman. And I guess as a Black man, I'm supposed to put that first, and I'm supposed to ignore the fact that, she looks like Tawana Burks in the face, like, because a lot of Black men do. Like, a woman will have nothing going for her but a booty, and they're like, "Oh, look at that!" I'm like, "What the hell?" No, I look at pretty much almost everything else, like besides toes or something. I look at almost everything else before I look at the booty. My crush, my YouTube crush, is Kelly Stamps. Kelly Stamps is not known for her booty. She's not known for her booty. She's known for her pretty face, slim waist, and her quirky, nerdy disposition. That's what I look at. I mean, like, when I realized that she didn't have one, I didn't care. So that's where I stand on that. And that might piss Black women off. So if someone were to tell me at that stage in my life that Black women have a genetic markers to make more pleasing butts, I would believe them, because I wasn't really staring at the booties like that. But then something happened. And in the pleasing form of Jennifer Lopez, when Jennifer Lopez came out, being a white Latina, what happened was white guys who probably were butt men, but didn't want to admit it to their wives and mothers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, or else catch flack or tap into their insecurities. When Jennifer Lopez came out, it then became okay for white men to openly say, I like booty. Because they weren't saying, I like big butts. They were saying that I want a Jennifer Lopez booty. So they did that without tapping into white women's insecurity about that. And then something interesting happened. Yoga pants, stretch pants, biker shorts on the booties of white women. And then it became clear to the world that two things became clear to the world. That white women, many of them do have booties. But more importantly, and this goes into the whole nature versus nurture thing. Hit the like button. Is that the booty is a muscle. I repeat, the gluteus maximus is a muscle, and it's the largest muscle group on the human body. It is a muscle. And just like, so basically, men like booties the way women like biceps. This is something that through time, discipline, and exercise can improve. White women have discovered this. They discovered, and I'm not even going to say the next part, but it's another group of people that discovered it, and it's nasty to me. I see them in the gym too. But there is like certain muscle groups that there is certain exercises that you can do that are particular booty workouts. And they do it. And they do it. It is a muscle. It grows with working out. And they do it. Once that is discovered, then the competition of booty has changed, and now they're losing that.
That goes for all women. But again,
somebody said Asian girls go to the gym doing heavy hip thrusts. Okay, here's the thing about Asian women. Asian women are old in the gym. Asian people live forever. I do. There is like 3 Asian women that I see in the gym regularly, and that don't know each other. I don't really see them doing anything particularly related to the booty, but they're doing cardio. And when I say old, I'm talking like old. I'm talking like if they were white or black, they would be on a cane old. Like that's what I'm talking about. They be old and they still be in the gym. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if my masseur, who's probably in her 70s, go to the gym, because she's a very petite woman, and she could even walk on my back, and she does. So like George Jefferson. So yeah, that's what I noticed them doing. And then back in the day, I don't know if they still do that. They be doing Tai Chi in the park. They used to, like when I was in high school, I would see them on my bus route. They do Tai. They wake up in the early in the morning and do Tai Chi in the park.
Yeah, she's using shaming tactics, and honey, you're not looking cute doing this. And when I look around, I see a lot of black men who are in an interracial relationship who are just trying to live their best life to the best of their abilities and not worried about anyone else. They're just trying to enjoy life with the person who accepts them for who they are, who is soft-spoken, who's not combative, who's not entitled, who's not disrespectful. Meanwhile, you have other women, though.
Okay. Cooley Booley says black women still have the best bodies. No, they don't. Not in America. Black women still have the best genetic foundations for the best bodies, which is far different from best bodies. They have the best bodies until they discover a McDonald's Happy Meal. And then they get the worst bodies. It's kind of like having a high IQ but never studying. You have the best genetic disposition to have the best bodies, absolutely. But that doesn't give you the best bodies. You actually have to work on it, and you actually have to sacrifice for it. And what do I mean by sacrifice? You actually have to sacrifice knowing the Jack in the Box menu by heart. You actually have to sacrifice 30 minutes to an hour on the every day in the gym. You do that, and having the best genetic disposition means that your results will be better than any other group of women's, but you actually have to do that first. I go to plenty of universities across America, and black women got the best bodies. No, they do not. We're going to talk about that right now. We're going to talk about that. After this, Cooley Bully, we're going to talk about this. Because I don't like your tone. Because, listen, you're talking about back in the day when their genetics were prevalent. You're talking about when the AKAs were AKA-ing it. You're talking about when the deltas were still delta in it. You're talking about when the zetas were still zeta-ing. And you're talking about when the SG roles, well, never mind. But you're talking about back in the day. You're talking about back in the Claire Huxtable days. We are going to look at the modern women stomping the yard today.
Who are upset at the fact that other men are moving on and women are living the life that they want to live. But honey, the recipe is very easy. Just be feminine. I've seen a post today. Somebody posted a meme saying, if you want a woman to be feminine, you got to take away her masculine responsibilities. I didn't know that responsibilities had a sex. Responsibilities are responsibilities.
Okay. What the women who say stuff like that are really saying is you got to pay for femininity. And it's a marketing tactic that they use. They starve a population of a certain thing and then sell that thing to them at a premium. Meaning that, it's what you do when you have a monopoly on something. You starve a population of something and then sell it to them at a premium. It's like, okay, if you want femininity, you got to remove masculine responsibilities. Well, nobody gave you masculine responsibilities in the first place. Let's talk about that. Who in the hell told you to take on masculine responsibilities? Nobody. And these chicks aren't, taking on masculine responsibility. It's not like it's a bunch of broads out there greasing pump jacks or some crap like that. They're not taking on masculine responsibility. They have like feminine jobs. They have like receptionist jobs. They have like get me a coffee job. They're like, oh yes, I'm in marketing type jobs. I want to be an interior decorator type jobs. Oh, I am a teacher type jobs. So miss me with this whole masculine responsibilities crap.
When you're a fully grown adult, you got to work, you got to pay your bills, you got to be responsible. But since she wants to mention wealthy rappers who sent a certain message to young black boys, let's talk about all of the female entertainers that sent a very clear message to a lot of young girls. What are young girls exposed to? We got Sukiana, we got Ice Spice, we got Sexy Red, and other social media influencers who have a large following, such as the infamous Sprinkle Sprinkle lady going by the name of She.
I haven't heard any of those broad songs, but I know what it's all about. It's the same as Foxy Brown back in my day, Little Kim back in my day. It's the same crap as that, just hypersexuality and stuff, and like it's musical porn is what they're doing, and it's to entice the women to use their sex to control their mate. That's all it is, and it's like okay, okay, okay. I heard it all before. I stopped listening to modern music a long time ago. Oh, wait a minute. What is this? Black women are working, paying bills, trying to keep a room over their heads. Well, you should look at my last room because they failed at. You should look at my last video because they failed at that. Who is the woman? Why does her opinion matter? Why does her opinion matter? Okay, we're going to talk about this first, for example. It's true. Okay, trying to keep a roof over her head. Well, a lot of black women are failing at that. But I'm going to say some things. And I know how to pronounce your name. What is it? Zikana? Let's just call you Melissa. Why can't a woman do that and keep a mate? Let's start there. Let's see your response to that. Why aren't black women doing that and keeping a mate? Also, are you aware that other groups of women are capable of doing that and being wives and mothers? Let's start there and then we'll move forward from there.
7. What do these characters tell young women nowadays growing up? And not even young women, even fully grown adult women in their mid-30s. They're telling these women, don't respect the man, you don't need a man. Make sure you use your looks getting a man. Don't date a man if the man is not rich.
Y'all, sprinkle, sprinkle. Please stop letting these dusties talk you into lowering your standards. Those standards are there for reasons to keep out dusties. So if the man can't reach the standards, dismiss him and allow another man to come through and try to reach them standards. That's how you get the life you want. Sprinkle, sprinkle.
Do you know who else has high standards?
All right, so she responded, but not to the question. The question is, why can't they have a job and keep a mate? You see, every white woman that I meet has a job. And even every housewife that's a white woman that I have met had a job at the time that she met her husband. And they really didn't become housewives until they started popping out babies. So answer me this: why can't they keep a job and a relationship? You responded, but you didn't answer the question. D2 says, interesting point. Yeah, I know. Like, it's interesting to point out that black women don't have the monopoly on working. I repeat, black women don't have the monopoly on working. You know those Asian women in Harvard? They're going to graduate one day and have a job and a man. Like, what in the hell? But let's talk about the black women who aren't working, for example. Welfare. Are they feminine? When you think about welfare woman who was stripped of masculine responsibility, according to this logic, do you think of like the most dainty feminine woman on the planet?
and morals, those wealthy men that you are looking for. But in order for you as an average woman to meet those high standards and morals, you're going to have to stop being in the streets. You're going to have to stop being wild, showing yourself all over social media. Instead of that, you would have to learn about being feminine. You would have to learn about companionship, being there for a man, speaking to a man a certain way. You know, a lot of women are saying, I can only be feminine when a man makes a certain amount of money. That has nothing to do with anything. You cannot turn on and off your femininity like a light switch. And I always say that either you got it or you don't. And if you don't have it, you can learn it. So if you don't bring anything to the table, honey, you will be left behind. It doesn't matter how many shaming tactics you are using. It doesn't matter how many times you are going to put your finger on the man and say it's all his fault. It's all going to rely to you because you're going to be the one that's alone looking for a man.
It sends a message of self-hate when so many black men who gain success all of a sudden switch. Black women should stop supporting men like this.
No offense, young lady, but it seems like that the average working class modern.
Now, I will say this. Kanye West is a bad example. He's an eccentric. He's a good counterpoint to what I'm talking about. And he is a nightmare situation for black women because Kanye West did have black women and black women on the come up. You know, he was seeing the Delta chick, you know, when he was when he came out with Through the Wire. So that is a perfect example of what they fear. Yeah, something's wrong with his soul. Yeah, that's all I could say about that. Like he's not a correct human being. All right. Let's see. Black women today may seem like they're doing something other cultures aren't. Okay. We can recognize black people have always been ahead of the game. Ha! Let me tell you something. If you have two people, one of them is in chains and the other one is holding the chains and the key to those chains, then the one who is holding the chains and the key to the chains is ahead of the game. Let's be clear. Black people have not always been ahead of the game. If you find yourself in chains, then whoever puts you in those chains is ahead of the game. I don't know where you got that from. Black people have always been ahead of the game. What game? They haven't been ahead of the how to not be a slave game. Anyway, it says black women have outdone themselves in education. When you look at education as a means to an end, for one, whatever end they attempted to accomplish through education, they failed. Whether it's money, who knows? But whatever means that they attempted to accomplish through education has failed. Let's be clear on that. I don't think, listen, I'm gonna be honest about black women in education. I think that they don't know what to do. So they're going to college because they don't know what to do. But outdone themselves. What did they accomplish with their educations? Nothing. I'm gonna come to you, John Henry. Promise. All right, hold on. And they're not outdoing themselves in education. The fact that another minority group can go to the top universities and kick you out means that you're not outdoing yourself in education. Or at least you're not outdoing them. Hit the like button. We're at 100. Once again, black people have always been ahead of the game. Okay. We're seeing it right now. Many look irregular to us. But in 10 years, no one will be able to compete with black women. In what regard? Unless they go through a significant cultural change, then, which means that you wouldn't be ahead of the game because you would be following the template of somebody else. But unless they go through a significant cultural change, including like diet, workout, exercise, real hair, nice disposition, and get me a sandwich, no, you won't. You'll be behind in the game if the game is attracting a mate of the opposite sex. You are behind, and you will be continue to do so if you continue to do what you're doing. What game are you talking about? Explain to me how what you're doing now will put you ahead of the game in the future. I got to hear this. I got to hear this. I just think that you guys don't want to give them their due. They are getting their due. They're due a dog and dine alone. Like, I mean, what do you think that they're due? They're getting their due right now. If you're not a good wife and mother, this is what you're due. You're due the penises that nobody else wants. That's your due. And maybe you guys aren't able to keep them feminine. Okay, it's our job to keep them feminine. Like other cultures are able to keep their women feminine. Okay. Yeah, their fathers keep them feminine. Perhaps if your mother was feminine, you would have one. I'm not saying you individually. The people that draw out of welfare are not the majority. Black people is black people. It's majority white people, not per capita. The majority of the country is white, sweetie. They're like 66% of the population. So, of course, the majority of people who draw welfare are going to be white. However, being only that we're 13% of the population and we're like 34% of the welfare cases means that we take a greatly disproportional amount of welfare. It's proportions, sweetie. So a larger portion of Black women are on welfare than white women by a long shot, by a spectacular margin. Meaning that if you were to throw a rock in a group of Black women, chances are you'll hit one that's on welfare. That's what that means. A lot of cultures that have feminine women are able to maintain their femininity, huh? Because their men keep them that way. Okay, I read that one already. All right. Black women face different situations and cannot be compared to other cultures. Everybody faces different situations. That's what different means. Like, if your situation is different than the next person, then that person's situation is different than yours. Doesn't matter. I don't really care about your situation. See, here's the thing. If a broke man came to you and said, suck my dick, would you care about his situation, or would you just care about what he is now? Would you really care about his situation? Would you really care about his story when he is a less valuable mate to you? I don't know what that means. Cite your sources, Trump supporter. I didn't know I was a Trump supporter, but okay. My sources of what? I said a lot. I just feel like there's a lot of blaming here, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with Black men at all. No, there's a lot wrong with Black men. Is that what we're saying? Okay, here's the thing. There's a lot wrong with black men. There's a lot wrong with every man. There is nothing worse. There's nothing more detrimental to maintaining a proper black family structure and community than the culture of modern black women. Because I'm the first one in the lineup and say black men are awesome. That's good. I'm glad that you realize that we are. But in this situation where you guys are pointing your finger, you guys look like a bunch of chumps. Oh, wow. Okay. By the way, guys, this tactic is what's called I would be tactic. This is I would be tactic. For example, it says, because I am the first one in the lineup and say black men are awesome, meaning that I would say that you're awesome if you wasn't wagging your finger at us. It's kind of like a child saying, I would say that you were the great father if you didn't put me on punishment. It's kind of like that. See, she's attempting to leverage support. Basically, if you want me saying that you're awesome, you have to stop wagging the finger at me. Black men are a lot smarter than you think. Keep up the finger pointing. It's so productive. Absolutely. Absolutely. Pointing to places is how stuff gets done. That's how you get places. Like, hey, how do I get to San Francisco? Oh, it's over there. Thank you. There's a lot of value in finger pointing. If you want a person to come to a proper conclusion, then you point the finger. Your Honor, or excuse me, if you're in a lineup and then you say, what man did this to you? You point the finger. Which shoes do you want? You point the finger. Yes, a lot gets done when you point a finger. Kevin Samuels was not ahead of his time. Well, I mean, whether he learned from the past or is preparing us for the future is null and void. His information was solid and sound. There's no one like Kevin Samuels. He's a black man. Okay, I'm a black man. I don't understand that. I mean, yeah, I rest in peace, Kevin Samuels. That's a weird thing to say. Yes, they have invented everything that's cool, everything that's trendy, everything that's fun to watch, entertaining, sports, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, you're talking about the men. Yeah, no, you're true on that. All right, it says yes or no. Kevin Samuels is ahead of his time. Well, I thought you said he wasn't last time. Maybe I misread it. Is ahead of his time. He was. Yeah, salute to Kevin Samuels. He used to come to my channel all the time. Rest in peace. There's no culture that throws their women under the bus like this either. There's no other culture that needs to. There's no other culture that needs to. There's no other culture that needs to. You see, music, book, and song, black women have been throwing black men under the bus for generations before before people thought that www was a wrestling federation, okay? Before the internet even existed, black women have been throwing black men under the bus. Don't believe me? Read Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora O'Neal Hurston. Read For Color Girls Who Have Ever Thought About Committing Suicide. Black women have been throwing black men under the bus for quite some time, for quite some time. What's being experienced today is just a result of that. Hey, why don't you open up your stream for a panel? Because, Jesus, okay. I hate doing this. Talking blizz, blazz, and ham. And you're not going to listen. You're just going to, but, all right, there you go. Because I can't keep typing shit, and I don't like how people are calling me a feminist because I'm not a feminist. No, you're not. Which is worse. Which is worse. See, it's one thing to not be a feminist. It's another thing to condemn their ideologies. Which means that what you're saying is, I want Black men to behave as if Black feminists has never existed. And sweetie, unfortunately, because of their existence, you are affected and infected by their ideologies. All right, I guess I can stop reading now. All right, say mine.
Hi, everybody. I'm
Hello.
sorry for interrupting your discussion. You had a great presentation. I just thought it was unfair to have it one-sided. I do love Black men, and I think you guys are within all of you guys have a undercover superhero. I believe you guys are the strongest, the best men. Okay, so
We are, yes.
that out of the way, because Black people have always been ahead of the game, is what I'm saying. Yes, you agree that you're smarter and stronger. You guys have to be, right? Okay, because this world is not fair, but it's also okay. And I get what you're saying about Black women.
Okay, I want to say something. I don't know if you're a fan of Game of Thrones. Everything before the word "but" is bullshit. So when you say, Black men this, Black man that, blah 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 blah, and then you say "but," it lets me know that the stuff before is bullshit. Okay,
you're right.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
And I get that the Black women have been doing things that are really, like, to you all, very, in a way, atrocious, right? Compared to other cultures, I get that too. I just think it's so unfair to not give them credit for their attempts to try to make it on their own, even though they had kids that they didn't need to have on their own. I get that too. Okay, and I get that they didn't need to be with these men that didn't want to be with them forever. I get all of that. Okay, but we all have like what are they called, role models, that when we were growing up, like, I'd never had like kids, and I never got married either, but we're taught certain things when we're young. I mean, Kevin Samuels, I know everyone here knows who Kevin Samuels is, and he's described each of these types of women in his podcast. So, and I've listened to every single one of them, and he's very clear that he loves Black women. He had no problem with Black women. He just knew there was an issue with the way that they were behaving, and there is an issue with the way every woman is behaving right now. It's just exacerbated because they have children, they're not married. I understand. I'm just trying to say that you guys are not being fair, because they are trying to be on their own, like, and succeed, and then they're proud of it. There's just going to be a generation of angry Black men because of it. But you guys are very good. You guys have been very graceful. You guys have been very patient, and I really do understand that.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's do this. What's your definition of insurrection?
I haven't looked that up yet.
No worries. No worries. Okay. Insurrection, in short, is when a person or a group of people break away from the leadership of the whole. So, for example, the American Revolution would be considered an insurrection, right? They're part of the British Empire, but they decided to do it by themselves, create a country by themselves.
Okay.
Now, do you think that the British Empire should celebrate that America did that?
No.
And what happened to the British Empire shortly after that?
Did they go to war to try to get it back?
Yeah, they went to war, but I'm talking about after the war, after they lost the war.
I don't know what happened in Britain.
Other nations, they no longer became the British Empire. They just became England. So all of, you can say that the British were great, that they were great because of this, this, and this. They had an empire that spanned the world, that the sun never set on the British Empire. These things were all true. But once individuals started breaking away from the whole and gained their independence from the whole, then now they're just England. Now they're just half an island. You see where I'm going with this?
I
So,
wish I could did.
okay. So now let's just bring this to Black women. Yes, it's a good thing that they have declared their independence. But what has happened is the whole has been weakened. The Black
Okay.
family structure has been weakened. That's what happens when a group of people declare independence from the whole. And
But
then what I'm discussing now is that after they have declared independence, they seem to be upset that Black men are finding women who want to be a part of the whole, where Black women have made it clear collectively that they don't.
Let's be honest, though. Black women have always been a little bit upset when a Black man went to a white woman. So
Sure.
that's been going on for a long time.
Sure.
So, but to your point about the independence, they didn't declare their independence on because they wanted to. They declared it out of necessity.
You're talking about America or Black women?
Black women.
Elaborate. Why do you think it was a necessity?
Okay, well, I get the whole welfare thing, and I get how it kind of pushed out Black men out of the house. Not kind of. It did push the Black men out of the house, and how that they preferred the system over the Black man. But then we have to also remember that maybe things were not perfect in the household. Maybe they were the first ones to say, hey, I'm not going to put up with this shit. And I'm not saying that you guys are bad at all. Okay, I love Black men. Don't forget that I love Black men. Okay, so I'm saying that just to their standards, their tolerance level, I don't know what was going on in these houses. Okay, I'm not saying that they're right or they're wrong. I'm just saying that they felt it was a point that they didn't want to put up with that. And hey, look at this nice little thing that they could do instead of having to put up with Black men. I'm not saying any of that is right. I'm just saying that's what happened, and it was out of not because they wanted to, but it was because they didn't want to do this anymore, so they chose that. And that's obviously not going to be helpful for anybody, I know.
So, okay, if Black women didn't want to put up with Black men, then why should Black men want to put up with Black women now? Like,
Sure.
why would a well-to-do Black man want to put up with a woman who didn't want to put up with him?
This is
who
right.
would take the first opportunity to leave?
It's a great question, and that's a discussion y'all should have together. But I'm saying
This is a discussion we're having together. That's why we have this show.
No, everybody.
That's what this show is to discuss such things.
You're actually having a fair discussion with me. Everyone in that chat has just shit to talk about Black women, and that's like let's bring everybody who's in the audience to your level of discussion. I honestly believe you're giving a fair understanding of what I'm talking about. So I really appreciate that, and I just wanted to just say that. That's all, and everything else is.
I want you to stay for this because I think that we have a misunderstanding of why the women chose welfare. So I want you to pay attention to your screen. I'm going to play something for you.
Okay.
This took place in 1984.
Raise your hand if you're married. None of you are married. Raise your hand if you would like to be married to your baby's father. One. The rest of you who don't plan to get married, why don't you plan to get married? I'd like to know that.
You already have your child to think about, and then a whole family to care for. You know, it's a lot of responsibility, and then you don't want the commitments.
Okay. So right there, we see that it's not a matter of relationships were unbearable or anything like that. It's just that they didn't want to.
Yeah, and Kevin Samuels went into this. Kevin Samuels
Yeah,
actually explained this to us, that their mothers were lying to them. They were lied to. They were brainwashed by their own mothers. My mother did the same thing to me.
What did your mother do to you?
Well, she tried to tell me that getting married was stupid, that you needed to go to education, and I believed her, and it was wrong, and she was wrong. She lied to me too.
Okay, so we agree. Now, what I would like to ask women like yourself to do is to condemn that teaching. You know, what we need is counter teachings. We don't need
I definitely agree with you on that.
We need a counter education. So we don't need people saying don't wag the finger at them.
Yeah.
We need you to wag the finger with us.
Definitely, but and that's and
Okay, so
I do, but I also have to be fair.
no, you was in the chat room saying stop wagging your finger
I
at
was-
black women when you need
No.
to be wagging your finger at your mama. You need to be wagging your finger too, because
Yeah,
what
but we're
they're
also
doing,
asking women to reject their mothers, and a lot of these black women think their mothers are awesome.
they're wrong.
We know this. You and I both know this. We both
And
know.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. There was a big mama time where the black women were completely different culturally. Black women at some point did go against their mamas. Their mama married like a brick mason and, you know, raised 6 kids in the house. And one generation of black women just said, you know something, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to be independent. You know, so if you could go against your mama's teaching then, go against it now. Understand that what she taught you will leave you looking like this chick on the screen, not particularly attractive, trying to figure out life as a single mama because she think welfare is the lick, and she had a kid with a guy because he's bow-legged. Like, you don't want, so you know where this leads. This is you know, this is hindsight. We have the gift of hindsight. This woman is not doing well in the universe. We have the gift of hindsight, and we have the gift through the internet of omniscient. We see when other cultures do certain things different, they get better outcomes. I say more finger wagging, and you should be wagging the finger too.
Sorry. Yes. Oh, yes, you're right. No, I do. I have. Okay, it's cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I was talking. My bad. I didn't mean to be.
Yeah, no worries.
Can you hear me?
No worries.
Sorry about that. Oh, you're
Yeah,
great.
no worries.
You're so
All right.
sweet. So no, I'm not disagreeing with anything you said. And you should know too that I agree 100% with Kevin Samuels. And I've listened to all of his episodes, 3 hours of it. I've gone back to back listening to him, and I completely agree with him. But he also loved black women. You guys don't sound like you love black women.
Okay. Okay. Kevin Samuels makes the distinction when he says modern women.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody dislikes modern women, but people change. That's what, you know, that's modern is to suggest a cultural change. Nobody likes the culture of modern black women. To be honest, not even modern black women.
Yeah.
So yes, Kevin Samuels is 54 years old. Listen, I'm in my 40s, and I can honestly say I love black women because I know that the way they aren't the way that they always were.
Okay.
We're old enough. We're old enough to know that. And
That's
Kevin Samuels more so than me. But what you have turned into and what you refuse to turn back from is something that's completely intolerable.
I get it. Okay, I get it. I don't think they're going to go back the way that they were.
More
but I
fools
do
in.
believe they're going to be way better in 10 years. I know this because of the way you guys are at them so bad. They're going to take that that criticism that they're getting by this generation, and they're going to be on top of their game in 10 years.
That's good.
Okay.
That's good. That's why I criticize.
Okay.
Out of love.
Then we all know the same. That's good. Then we have the same goal.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so much for this conversation.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for coming up.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. John Henry, greatly appreciate you, brother. What's on your mind?
Nothing much, man. I was hoping that she'd stick around here because I was listening to a lot of conflation and obfuscation from her. She's talking about how great Kevin Samuels was, about what he had to say, but there was nothing specific about his message that she was putting out, other than saying, I've watched all his videos. All of his videos are longer than any one of us have been alive, shortly, so to speak, in the time frame, at least, that he was up and running. So she hadn't seen all of his videos. I'm sure she's seen a few of his videos, not to take away from what she has or has not seen, but listening to her speak, especially to seeing some of what she was saying in the chat, it was inconsistent with what she was saying. For example, everybody knows, at least you've heard me say in previous chats when we were talking with Melanie, I am for the black male image, at least trying to make sure that it is shown positively. I'm not against women because I am pro-relationship, but we have to look at certain things when we talk about what goes against what is good for our culture as far as relationships. We can't sit here and say that, oh, the black men are holding black women down, when in fact, when you open up social media, 10 times out of 10, it is a black woman saying something negative about us and then enlisting help to join in saying negativity about us. But yet, if a statement is made one time about what we find that we do not enjoy in a black woman's behavior, her appearance, or something she has to say, we get drugged across America. Now, tell me if I'm wrong, man.
Okay. No. There is an attempt to silence black men while give black women the mic. Absolutely. They're used to that from the beginning of, modern technology. They've been making movies and stuff, and there wasn't a black male counter to Oprah. So you're right that they're used to having the mic, and they're not used to us having a mic against them.
Mm-hmm.
So she's back. She heard you in the back, and apparently she wants to respond.
Oh, gladly. Rose, I was hoping that we'd have a chance to have a conversation about your thought patterns here.
Absolutely.
This is a no shoot 'em up zone. GameChanger. I have talked here and there in the past, but the one thing that we do like to make sure of is that people can substantiate their positions.
Absolutely.
That's the only reason why I came up, and I wanted to make sure I was understanding correctly about what you were saying in regards to black women are going to be standing out in 10 years. To ask the question, are you looking at the statistics of performance of black men and women as it stands today in 2024?
I know that when I was a little girl, when I was I was born in 82, and when I was a little girl, I remember what the stats were, and I see now how far they've come in education and trying to hold it down by themselves. Nobody's done it that fast.
All right. So again, you've provided nothing but a stats you believe. Question right now: do you realize that?
Hey, I'm sorry. Excuse me, sir. I told you that when I was young, black women are not where they were today, and it happened that fast.
Substantiates what I'm asking. Is there a statistic that you can quote that substantiates the words that you're speaking right now?
Okay, first of all, women in general are already going to do better than men in education. Okay, so that's one. That's one. Okay. Also, the more educated that black women have become, the more they are divorcing. So that means that the more educated they're getting, the more they're saying we don't want to deal with this shit. That is nothing to do with how you guys are. I don't care. I'm not in your households. I don't know. Okay, so I'm not gonna minimize their experience. I'm not gonna minimize yours. In fact, I've actually taken the men's side more than the black women's, because I am more interested in black men than I am in being with a black woman. So I'm for the longest time I've taken your side more. Okay, but there's other things that I've seen and that I experienced and that I'm knowledgeable more now on, that I have to give them that respect. And in that chat room, you can say all you want, but I'm not substantiating my claims. But I don't like hold opinions based on bullshit. Like I hold my opinions based on what I've learned.
Okay, so
well, I will say this. Well, John Henry, let me chime in for a second, because you're asking for substance to what she was saying about the quality of women in the past. Being there, I can, of course, there isn't a statistics that measure quality the same way that I do and most men do. But I can say, being there, being alive in the 80s, in the 90s, there was far greater quality of women than there is today.
To you guys. For you guys.
Yeah, we're all that matters, in the sense that as far men are the ones, men are the jury. We are the judges of the quality of women. Absolutely.
But not if you're not judging them, not if they're not letting
you.
But
we are judging. But we are judging. I just gave my judgment to John.
They're not asking for your judgment, though.
Yeah, well, John did.
It doesn't really matter.
Whoa. Hey,
well, right quick.
I'm just trying to be
John
honest,
did.
okay?
And however, any woman who seeks a quality man should ask, what do quality men seek? If you're not asking for our judgment, then more fool you.
But they're not even trying, because they don't want it. They don't want it. They don't want to deal with the way you're giving them the attitude.
Okay. If they don't want a black man's judgment, then they shouldn't complain when they can't get the black man that they're meeting, that they're seeking.
They've always been that way, though. Ever since the way the 1900s, even before then, they've always been upset when they saw like a white man with a black man or a white woman with a black man.
No, that's something.
This is
That's
not
something
new.
different.
The passport bros are not doing anything in that. They're not. There's no new evidence to suggest that there's a lot of women that are pissed off that these passport bros are going across over the seas. They don't care. Right now, they don't care. They may get upset, but they've always gotten upset when they see you guys with somebody else.
Yeah, no, we understand that. But the thing is that they still created relationships back then.
But judging them isn't really gonna do shit. You have to be like, I mean, I'm not even saying what you guys have to do. You guys do what you got to do on your own, and I'm not gonna ever say what you guys should do. Okay?
I'm not gonna exclamation point. All right, so let me, if I can get a word in edgewise here for a second. Now, let me go ahead and talk to one of your points. As far as again, education, no one is saying that Black women are not doing better nowadays. No one is not going to say that. Now, from statistics standpoint, that I can go out and pull. If you give me a second, I'll disappear for a second after I say these two things, GC. The first thing here is that Black women are achieving education at a higher rate than ever before. But what you're missing is, Deanna, because what I'm hearing is anecdotal experience from you. I'm getting everything about the feelings, emotion, what you believe, but you have not been able to point out and bring up something that defines that. I'm going to do that here in a moment. Black women are doing better in education. Matter of fact, I already did. GC, do you still have the link I dropped about 5 minutes ago? I'll go back and get it. But Black women are getting educations, but the problem is that the educations that they are achieving are not paying as high as that you would believe.
Let me tell you what else that's happening while they're in education. They're taking out a lot of loans.
I need you to understand something. Let me give a definition. GC, have you heard me talk about noise? All right, noise is an acronym I have that stands for need to be validated, over talking, irrelevance towards others, snide commentary, and also egregious or evasive behavior.
Hey, we're talking about
ma'am, I need you to listen right now.
You proved them right. That's ironic, but
again, she's proved me right. Now, also, here we go. GC, notice.
Well, okay, let him finish, Melissa, and then you'll go.
All right, so as I said, also, let me just go ahead and put some baselines of what we're going to be dealing with in this conversation, because again, I've heard nothing that's substantiated. The next thing that we'll deal with, what we've heard, is tag, where we have our reputations attacked, and that's where we're either called toxic, abusive, or gay, which you have not done yet, but I'm putting that out on the table. Okay, and after that, we have rigging behavior, and rigging stands for rumor, innuendo, and gossip. Now, these are paths that you have not gone down this year, but if it goes to that, I just want to make sure that that is put out on the table what to expect. But ideally,
I appreciate that.
We've dealt with sign language. Shame, insults, guilt need to be right, which again, yes, you verified already that we've gone through this. Yes.
I shamed you?
No, not me. I'm talking about folks in the chat, your commentary about Black men. You have not shamed me personally. Now, again, how you articulate all goes about how you see us. Now, again, I would say the second thing, as far as looking at Black men or whatever, as far as what we have achieved, yes,
listen, dude,
we're doing better as we are right now as Black men. We're not there. As GC also said, and I can agree with you, Black men need to do better. We still need to. However, when it comes to presentation of who is giving an attitude of, or should I say a description of throwing each other under the bus, where do you see Hispanic women? Where do you see white women? Where do you see Asian women saying, oh, our men ain't shit?
Can I answer that?
One moment, if I may.
Okay, so just don't remember the answer.
Is that I want to know, do you see that in mass? And I'm not talking about one, a couple, 10, maybe 20 or 100.
Can I answer the question? Because I can't remember.
Hold on. I know that you have an answer.
Questions, though. I'll forget.
No, I get it. So the question is, give a comparison of other groups of women defaming their men. So we'll do that
okay.
after he finished what he's saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go. I concede because I don't want to be in a position to say, "Oh, I talked so long and I forgot my point." But I can see the mic right now. Now, please let me know your thoughts.
You got it, Melissa.
What happened? Oh no, I thought he was gonna finish.
No, he is finished.
Okay. So Latinos in those households, those men are pushed around by the women. Period. Okay. Those Asian women. You think that those Asian men are not being pushed around by their wives? They may be quiet and sweet in public, but they just know how to be quiet and sweet in public. They know how to be wives, okay? They do. Latinos, we're not any better. Okay, we're really scary, and our parents are terrible. They were terrible examples for me, and just our whole culture is dysfunctional. So I'm not even gonna like try to say like other cultures are better because we're not. And white women, they run their men. Okay,
Are you
come
Latina?
on. Yes.
Okay. It's okay.
She
I'll
still
let John
didn't prove my point. She still did not prove my point.
The point. No, the question was, what other cultures? I'm saying the Latino. In the Latino culture, men are pushed around by the
No,
women.
you're saying it, but you're not displaying it. Put it in a stat. I'm out here grabbing stats right now. Display what you're saying. Otherwise, it's just anecdotal experience.
Well, furthermore, Melissa, the question was, where do we see on display these cultures?
Oh, on display.
Yeah, like okay, for example, right? The
Sad.
movie Color Purple was written by Black women for Black
Yeah.
women
Yeah,
to the detriment of Black men. Is
agree
there
with
an
that.
Asian equivalent to such a movie, or a Latino equivalent, or a white equivalent to such?
Yeah,
movies?
they got the. Yeah, they do. I think they might actually.
Okay, then please present those.
Okay, well, should I go check it out right now? I could probably find it.
Well, no, because we don't really have to. Okay, if
The
if
thing
there
the
is
male
such a
culture,
movie,
you know, the male
if there
culture
is such
has
a movie, it
violence.
did not have the popularity that
Purple,
these
because
movies have.
yeah,
Actually,
because-
somebody brought up a good point. Joy Luck Club is an Asian
Yeah,
equivalent, absolutely. You know,
and
so that would be an
the-
example.
the water runs through chocolate. I think maybe even there's a lot of Latino ones that have it like that.
Yeah.
But we're not here to like discuss men and violence. I'm not here to say that. Okay, I'm just saying that we do have that, and there's no reason to like say okay because they're out in display and they're making it really really known. I mean, how much known are they making it? They're trying to put on a strong face for the public, and it's bothering you guys.
Why would I be bothered about someone putting on a strong face if they're not going to be in my zone? Because another thing that we're missing here, and this is something GC that hasn't been said right now, that or at least in this conversation today, that he and I have spoken before, is that people need to understand you need to qualify for what it is that you're after. Because, and I say this all the time, value has no worth unless it's agreed upon. So therefore, a woman telling herself, "Oh, I am worth this," and her girlfriend saying, "Girl, you are worth this," that's fine, but your girlfriend's not going to marry you. And to allude to something that GC said earlier, you can have all the worth you want, but unless someone else sees that value in you, your worth is to you and you only, because it needs to be something that somebody else values in order for you to have that relationship.
They don't need that.
Okay,
it seems like they don't need that. They don't need anyone to see their value.
That is the issue, and that is the whole reason why he's having this podcast. And you are once again substantiating what he's saying. You've come up here and substantiated his position.
I always said that I get it. So I told you guys.
You get it, but you don't believe it, nor do you actually show that you truly accept it. All I'm hearing is you saying, "I get it," but it's not being displayed through your words or the actions that we're seeing right now.
Before I came to this conclusion that I'm coming to right now with this whole like manosphere and all these insults towards Black women. Before I did that, I was avid. Okay, hold on. I was an avid listener of Kevin Samuels. Okay, he was my number one. He still is my hero. Okay, he's my number one hero. I'm going to tell you that, and I have listened to every single episode, 3 hours long episodes. Yes, I have.
I challenge you to say all of them.
Well, here, let me ask you this. Do you feel that Black women will surpass Latino women?
Absolutely. Not with the child. Not with the children. They're going to way surpass us with kids. I don't know why they're able to have so many kids and without a man. Honestly, I don't know. I can't get that part. I honestly think that they should stop having kids. But that's like a whole like other. I don't know that sector of the culture. I think their mothers are telling them to have the kids, and then they believe they don't believe in abortion. Oh, I'm just saying there's I believe what you're saying. There are a lot of criticisms that Black women have. Like there are legitimate criticisms, but these ones that are here, what we're hearing, like there's not different in any other culture. It's just more on display because you guys are making a big deal about it.
Well, cultural differences are different. That's in the definition of cultural difference. To say that one culture isn't different than another, I mean, listen, East Oakland and West Oakland cultures are different from each other. I mean, for you to say that, it's, you know, yeah,
Black people are always been put on display for people to look at. It's almost like, you know, that's how America has always been.
Mm-hmm. yeah, people like to look at us, but I mean, we are culturally different.
It's definitely
And
not
those
fair.
differences are now causing dysfunction.
Mhm.
So they need to be examined. The dysfunctionality of them needs to be
I agree.
examined.
I agree.
Exactly.
Definitely.
1930s, 1940s, 1950s, you didn't hear a woman talk about, I don't need a man, I can get by on my own. You didn't hear that because we were
Welfare.
needed for care. But as Shahrazad Ali stated openly, the more education a Black woman gains, the more ignorant she begins to act. And that is something that she stated. And there's a book that she wrote that's talked about this specifically. And I don't know if you heard about it, but it's called The Black Man's Guide to Understand the Black Woman. She wrote one also. Black woman. Excuse me?
Here? Is that the majority opinion here that the more educated Black women become, the more ignorant they become?
Now, that's not going to be everyone's opinion here. I'm just simply stating what Shahrazad Ali stated. Now, I notice also that you are directing any and every thought of negativity into everyone inside of this chat.
No, I'm not. I'm asking.
All right. So if you're not, then don't think that. Then I'll go ahead and say it now. I'll speak for myself. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm representative of your thought of if this is what every man says. I'm simply stating what Shahrazad Ali stated. And I know GC has heard this also. That is a direct quote from her. She outlined a lot of behaviors that you're defending as far as what black women are.
No, I'm not defending any behavior.
Okay. Again, she once again, if you don't call it defending, then we'll just say that you're stating it. If you're saying you're not defending, but what you're stating has already been, I won't say debunked, but has already been handled head on and put in a position to where it's recognized that the core of the Black family now has shifted. We have lost our footing here, and mainly due to the fact that we had standards. I'm 54. I know GC is close behind me, but I'll put it this way. You were born in 82, so you missed a standard where men were, so you missed the standard came from. Men were respected, women were virtuous, and children did not speak until spoken to. That is where we came from, and that is what laid the foundation for a lot of the commentary that you might find. But even making a statement, that does not mean that we hate Black women. That, by no means. Matter of fact, as I said before, you can find more videos that show Black women saying that we ain't worth anything. We're broken.
They say that a lot. Yeah, you're right.
And okay, so therefore, when you made the statement about Black men throwing Black women under the bus, my question is, where are you getting that from?
You're right. I'm wrong. In that instance, you're right.
And that is all. Okay, so therefore, I want to start from there. Go ahead.
Let me intervene and read some super chats, namely yours too. So earlier you said Black women use the expression self-hate to describe Black men is simply a retort due to them realizing they don't qualify. Okay. Yeah, I could say that. It's kind of like a person saying that a company is racist because they don't, or a university is racist because they don't allow them in when, they probably simply don't qualify, race aside. All right. Zena Carter, Black women are, how do you pronounce your name?
Oh, mine. You pronounce it with a CH. It's
just say Melissa.
Yeah, you can say Melissa. That's even better.
Yeah. Okay. Because I'm not gonna name you an ethnicity. That's so. I'll just say Melissa. Yeah. Black women working to keep roofs over their heads is due to them wanting 50-50. The white woman's speaking showed submission. Okay, he's talking about Soraya Brooks. Towards the man that she married, thus getting his 100%. Okay. Definitely agree with that. Trump for prison. I greatly appreciate you. By the way, when you send a super chat, as you can see, you wind up in the matrix. KMS just sent one, and John Henry is there. So the green ones are the people that send the super chats. The red is the people who are members. So
I see that you finally got that working. GC, good on you, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. This part was always working. I just couldn't play a video while doing it. So
I appreciate it.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Okay, so Melissa, this is again per Shahrazad Ali, the more educated acquired, the more ignorant they behave. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. So I would definitely, I'm gonna respond to that. I'm gonna definitely say that there is a correlation. And that is because education is a part of their mating strategy. So because that strategy is steeped is a poor strategy. Exactly.
It is.
Because that's a poor strategy, they would come up as ignorant.
I
And
get
their
it.
strategy is similar to what's seen in the is seen on the movie Scarface. In America, first you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the women. They just reverse the genders. And it's going to be failed on a group of people with limited fertility. You know, you're not supposed to wait till you become a doctor when you're a woman, because by the time you do, you have 4 eggs left. So you don't do that. It's a failed strategy for women.
I agree.
Ignorance of that is yeah, there is a correlation between that particular strategy and ignorance. So I agree with Shahar Ali on that. All right. And KMS, recently to the Matrix, it says, I don't know why Black women degrade Black men's dating standards. They should be openly grateful. If Black men had standards immense,
That's true. That's true.
more Black women would
Yeah.
would be even more single than they are now.
I think you
This
guys
is
are right
true.
about that. Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah.
I say this as a Black man, the bottom feeders of the dating market. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They are counting on Black men's diminished standards. In fact, quite a few of them only feel comfortable in a relationship if he has proven that he has had diminished standards.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
a lot of that goes to what Melissa was saying, and that's because they feel inadequate in comparison to other races of women. So the only way a relationship will sustain the test of time is if the men feel inadequate about himself as well. So
Yeah,
definitely
Kevin Samuels actually said that too about the standard Black man standards.
Yeah,
He said
it's
that.
very low, and the secret's out. You know, every time an overweight Asian woman tries to get my penis, it's like you're only doing this because I'm Black. You know that your
I
own
love
people isn't going to go for that crap. So
You're right.
yeah,
That's true. You're right. Sorry, it's not funny, but it's
yeah, no worries.
you're right.
All right, so so yeah, that's it for now, and yeah. So what? Pronounce your name for me, brother. I can't hear you.
I think you're on mute.
Me?
You're on mute, bro.
No.
No. What is it? Trial passport. We can't hear you, fam. We see your lips moving, but I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay, so all right, so I guess he's here. Shit, but no, like I said, I just got back last Wednesday from Colombia. I'm speaking from a passport.
What part?
Medellin. I was in Medellin. I brought
beautiful.
Dangerous over there.
It's what? Did you say it's dangerous?
She said it's dangerous. She said it's dangerous.
No,
I've been there for a week, but I went with my peoples.
No,
but I didn't feel in danger.
Melissa, I feel more in danger in America. There's more Black men murdered in America by Black men, by cops, they say, right? No, I'm more in danger in Chicago or St. Louis or Compton or Liberty City. Should I keep naming? Milwaukee. You know what I'm saying? I can keep naming Detroit. Like, literally, I'm more in danger stepping on another Black man's shoes in America than I am in Colombia, than Brazil, than Panama. Seriously. So I'm speaking from an actual passport brother with actual experience. And as far as for me, I pick from the women that pick me. Okay. As you should. But hold on, and the women that are attracted, that I'm attracted to. I'm not attracted to these big, overweight, buffalo, hungry, hippo-ass chicks here with a hyena mindset that they want to be the woman queen. It's and these are actual real facts, like John was saying. Like, where are you getting this fact? Brothers have just really came out to start speaking up for ourselves as a culture because we stand alone. Well, as far as we know, they want their own deal. The queens, the quangs on Fox demonstrated this when they were talking to one of the most successful Black men in today's society, Ice Cube. They didn't want to hear what he had to say. They didn't want Ice Cube negotiating a package or, representing the Black family
They
black,
wanted to be separate.
right? They didn't want that. They said, "Oh, what is Donald Trump willing to offer black women?" They didn't care about black boys. They didn't care about black men. They
For
didn't.
families. Okay. I see
Okay,
what you're saying.
they only focus on themselves. You got to remember, in today's society, the black woman the black family actually is really truly only considered the black woman and her kids, and her kids that she can't have without a man. So
That's
I'm
true.
quickly to inform them. Yes, you might have had a kid by Pookie and Ray Ray, and it's not my fault. It's not GC's fault. It's not John's fault that you chose bad. That they're out here choosing bad and then coming back to us later on saying, "Hey," and yes, I've seen groups of black women in the airport looking dumb, traveling in groups because they're safer together than, you know what I'm saying? They don't feel safe traveling alone.
I understand. Yeah.
Okay, so they do travel in groups, and yes, I did talk to them because you know what? I'm breaking into YouTube, right? GC, I do that when I'm traveling. I don't know about you. I walk up to those groups of black women and ask them, "What do you think? How was your experience?" Oh, and what do they complain about? You want to know, Melissa, what they complain about? The black man that they can't get, those successful high earners that Kevin Samuel was talking about.
Qualify. I said that.
Those qualified men that are gone. And guess what? I tell men, white men and black men, with my small business that I just got done doing, that I do on weekends. I'm gonna tell you like this. I tell men of all colors, all Canadians, I'm up here in Fargo, North Dakota. I tell them, why are y'all wasting your time? Why are y'all wasting your time? Y'all wasting your time chasing these women. And guess what? She's drinking, you're drinking, you might catch a case. You'll never that blue book, you'll never get to use it once you catch that case. Once you catch that case, when she says, "Oh, you took it." No. You don't want that. You don't want that problem. So you know what I tell them? What y'all need to do is be grinding, take advantage of those 2 weeks, create you a business, get you a good job that gives you the flexibility. And this is what you need to do. You get out there. Hey, I say, hey, I'm big bro. I'm gonna be right here doing my thing. Come back and catch me. They like some, "Oh, you're in Colombia, you're in Brazil, you're in Panama." Yes. Oh, you on the airplane? But I'm not explaining myself. Do you understand? I don't explain myself to black women no more. They're salty as hell because they have lost. If you remember, that's one of the things that Kevin said when you say the gender war is over. They just don't realize that they lost.
Yeah, he's right.
You have white
Hey, so
feminist
Terrell,
women.
let me
Go ahead,
let
brother.
me ask you this, because I could definitely, if and tell me if I'm wrong. I feel that you're like on the SYSBM train, right? You're part of that, maybe Passport Bros, but you're in that camp, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely about saving myself. Yeah, I don't blame
right.
It's
for
an admirable thing.
Let me ask you this: if the woman on your screen right now, right?
Yeah.
You see her tits.
Yeah.
If she were to behave in a feminine and friendly manner, being a Black American woman, would you give her the time of day?
Oh, for cheeks? That's it.
No, I'm talking about, would you take her as serious as you would a woman from Medellin?
No.
And why is that? I'm curious.
Because at any time she can become a hyena.
Okay.
The feminism is ingrained in her, and
That's
the system has her back whenever she decides to turn.
I understand that, and I think that is a key difference. It's not just that they, for one, is that they can, and for two, is that they have a history and reputation of doing such a thing. It does require an enormous amount of trust to get with a woman who is here in the States. The system doesn't necessarily back Colombian women the same way, and I think that does affect the culture and men's perception of them. So, all right, good point.
This is a very healthy conversation, I think.
And that's why I'm not coming on here trying to name call Melissa. All due respect, and I appreciate you for sitting up here and hearing what women would say, my truth. I'm like when John says, "What's your statistics?" My passport, my passport.
No, I think that what you're doing is admirable. The whole, like, trying to start a new life and trying to find what works for
Literally,
you. I appreciate that about you, man.
my life changed when I got off that plane.
Well, congratulations.
When I got off that plane in Brazil, it was over. It was over. Honestly, I came back to America, and yes, I have a daughter. And I said just like this. I told my daughter, I can't support buying you weave when I know that there are beautiful Black women literally in the suburb in America that have real hair. And I want you, and I told her, I want you to teaching my daughter has long, real hair. Like, that's another thing that is a big issue in the Black community. It's a huge issue in the Black community. Them walking around trying to be Negropeans, okay? Like trying to have Becky's hair, right? Versus if she's with a Brad, she's gonna wear real hair. This is crazy. Am I lying, GC?
You're right.
I think that I do think that there is a connection, but I don't think that the reason for that is what you think. I'll start there.
No. He's not accepting all that wigotry,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, part of it is a Black man's diminished standard.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Let me read this from Pablo Frescobar.
Go ahead.
Pablo, I'll put you in the matrix.
Read Pablo.
Yeah, it says, can you ask a Latino on the panel if the girls are taught by their mothers to help prepare meals, clean and serve the family? So he's asking about Latino culture.
Yeah, we are. We do.
Okay. All right. So that answers Pablo's question. And I think the reason that he's asking is because he wants to show that genetic foundations aside, there is a cultural draw to Latino women. And that's why the person that's Terrell, that's why the places that he traveled to are Latina cultures, the countries, Black men are gravitating towards the culture. And not to say that the women aren't genetically pleasing. They most certainly are. And many of them share the genetics with Black women being Black themselves, being Black Latinos themselves. Latinas, themselves.
Yep.
So, it's really just the cultural change that Black women in the West have to go through, and then even when they do, there's still the skepticism that Terrell was talking about that goes along with the fact that they can switch up, that they can, appeal to the legal system when they change their mind on a whim or something. These things are actual concerns that need to be talked about.
This is very healthy conversation. I like this. I like that we're able to do this.
Shine a light on more conversation that I had last night. This is last night, right? So I was serving food, and these two wonderful 21-year-old white girls came into my tent, right? And it's kind of chilly at night, so I got heaters in there, and it's warm, right? They're wearing no clothes. They, how women dress. They wear next to nothing, right? So they were warm, and they were hanging around talking. And then the girl was asking me, I said, so where's your boyfriend at? She's like, my boyfriend, he's a pilot. He's a pilot. And she's like, yeah, I'm planning to, she started talking about this big plan, and I want to be happy. And I want to have this happy family and all like this. And I said, how old are you? She said, I'm 21. And I said, so what happens when you're no longer happy? Like, what do you mean? I said, see, you are controlled by your emotions. And when you're not happy, she said, well, I would never. I said, do you not understand that the divorce rate is above 50% for first-time marriages? And then my buddy, who's actually separated from his wife right now, that was sitting in the same tent with me, and my other buddy that was sitting over there, all three of us guys have gone through these major long-term devastation when women decide to change their minds or they change their feelings. And I was explaining this to these 21, and they literally, you could see it in their eyes. They couldn't fathom what it will be like when they're not happy. And she said, oh, I want a loving marriage and a guy that only wants me. And I told her, men are naturally non-monogamous. And I told her, I have two girlfriends myself. and I'm non-monogamous. It's like,
Yeah, I can't do that with
and I
you,
said,
bro.
yes, they know about each other, and I don't lie to women. I don't lie to you. I'm not lying to them. I'm not lying to you two. And I said to them, I said, hey, could you respect
Okay.
if
So
your
let
boyfriend told
me interrupt. Let me interrupt right now, because what you're doing now is what you're doing now is you're giving a justification of current modern women behavior, and that is it's in the vein of scarcity equals value. And you find yourself where qualified men who are able to provide is in scarcity, and you are leveraging the scarcity to your favor by getting into polygamous relationships and things like that, which is fine. But also, you know, fit, feminine, friendly women here are scarce, and you're justifying them for leveraging that scarcity, sprinkle, onto men. You see what's, you know,
Yes.
you just gave like a moral justification for a lot of the behaviors here. I know that wasn't your intent, but that's the result, to those who hear it.
Okay.
Put
This
it out
host is very,
there.
very good. He's very
Put that out
intelligent.
Oh,
I
you
couldn't
know,
even
Boo-Boo, you don't know
articulate
me.
that way. Thank you.
Now, to
Game
put that out
Changer is a beast.
I
First
don't
of
have
all,
anything else to say. You guys are right. I'm gonna go ahead and get off now. But I really,
Okay.
really appreciate this conversation, and you guys' host is awesome. I really appreciate you too. Thank you for teaching
All
me.
right. Well, yeah. Subscribe. Yeah.
Of
So
course.
GC,
Okay,
what
bye
I was
guys.
going to say here, man, is that when we talk about what it is that we expect from women or men, we need to go back and get everything straight from the first part. So as guys, what is it we're looking for? And you just hit on that for a second. We're looking for feminine, fit, friendly, fertile, depending upon age. We're looking for cooperative. We're looking for agreeable. We're looking for discretion, discernment, as well. Also, we're talking peace. But in exchange for that, as men, we've got to bring something to the table as well. And what I tell young men is that we have to look for, we need to bring focus. We're talking about guidance, direction. We're also talking about security, stability, masculinity, fitness, as well as care and protection. So the two big things for men that we need to focus on is our care and protection, which is what is given to a virtuous woman. Because when you look at it, a virtuous woman is guaranteed the benefit of a man who's going to stand on his 100. All right. So therefore, if she brings peace and I bring my care and my protection together, that brings mutuality. That's what we should be looking for. It's a level of interdependence that we should be striving for, as opposed of independence. Because I've heard women come on channels and state that when they're getting married, girl, I'm worried I'm going to lose my independence. So, wait a minute. Why are you getting married if you're more concerned about your independence? The fact is that you should be looking at what you're going to gain, which is going to be that interdependence and that relationship with that man who is going to be your husband. Because I do not believe, and this is just John Henry speaking, as a man, when I marry a woman, if I get married again, as I told my ex-wife, I'm not your friend, I'm not your pal, I'm not your buddy. All right, I am your husband, I am your spouse, I am your mate. You spill tea with your girlfriends. You tell your stories, you gossip with your girls, your partners, but that's not what I'm here for. But that doesn't mean that I'm also closed off and unaware of your emotions and what you have to say. The same, I would expect her to hear the same from me. So there's got to be that crossroads coming across. I'll go ahead and yield, GC.
Okay, so and that goes back into what we were talking about earlier, when we talk about the white guy and them giving the real hair to them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What's going on with black men, and this comes from generations of player culture, is open player culture. I think that all men have it, but we are vocal about it. We make songs about it, and we're known for it. It's really working to our detriment, because what's happening is we are looking for women to we have the reputation of looking for women to play with, and unfortunately what we are attracting ethnically is women who are looking for players, and these tend to be the city girl for the street type women that we complain about. The women who are serious about relationships don't really look at us as a first choice, because we are not culturally reputed for looking for relationships. So it's really the same fear that Terrell was talking about, that he had for the woman with the titties on the screen earlier. it's the same fear. It's like, okay, this person could change at any time because it's so rooted in their culture. You know, they're thinking that this man can turn player at any time because it's so rooted in his culture. The only thing that's stopping them is the opportunity to do so. But nevertheless, so and that's why, like the brother was saying, you know, that they are more likely to have real hair and things like that, because the women who are serious, you know, are looking for men with the reputation of being serious, which unfortunately for Black men we don't have. What we do have is an opportunity to create that abroad and change that locally. And I'm not saying, listen, I'm not saying, you know, don't have your side pieces, but for God's sake, brothers, don't make videos about it, and don't go online bragging about it. Like, those days are over. You know, that's my thoughts, fellas. What do you have?
Yeah, anonymity is definitely gone, but I'll say this for what Terrell was saying, that Black men are not monogamous. No, monogamy is a choice for the most part. As well as also
It's a discipline.
Well, we'll say discipline. We'll put it this way:
it's a discipline when you have options. It is,
and that's
it's,
all.
It's a discipline for Denzel Washington.
If you are disciplined to whereas you want to be monogamous, you can be monogamous depending upon if what you have is as value to you as she is to him, or back and forth. If you value each other a certain way, the issue of monogamy is not an issue. So most people, again, it comes with options, fall to the wayside and indulge in situationships and entanglements because of the opportunity. But that simply means that there's been nothing or no one that meets what they're looking for to keep them in a monogamous position. So therefore, I don't agree with Terrell in that aspect, whereas, oh, hey, you know, we're just not meant to be monogamous. No, if you're disciplined and you value what you have, you will be. So that just goes par for the course. And what Melissa had said earlier, she's talking about again, Black men not desiring or looking for Black women for relationships. What she seems to forget here is that men chase and women choose. And I know a lot of people don't agree with this, and this is what I've stated before, but there's a level of submission that goes both ways. Because when we first see a chick that we want to run up on, and we go up to holler to her, and we tell her, hey, I'm interested, the first thing that comes back, well, hey, if you're going to holler at me, you can't do this and this. You got to holler at me. All right. And what do we normally say? Okay. But generally, us saying, okay, that is us saying that, okay, I accept. And that's all submission is. I accept. It's a thing of trust. If I accept to be the guy that you want to talk to and I cut out everybody else, then I expect you to pay the attention, to show the awareness of what I'm doing. But notice when it gets down to the point where we get to the point we want to marry her, then that's where the cold feet comes up, where we ask for submission in return. What normally happens, GC? What normally happens? I'm not submitting to anything. But wait a minute. I showed submission first by knocking off, chilling and running after all the other biddies so I could holler at you. But now when it's your turn to extend that, after you should have seen in me what you want in a husband, you get cold feet, because people forget submission has a price, whether it be us or them. To her primarily, it has a price. And people seem to forget that submission is not subservience. This is not me saying, come to me, bed wench, or anything like that, bow, yield, kneel. What it is simply
well, I
trust.
mean, that's part of it. It is submission. It's just at that point, it's just up to the man to be a tyrant. And if, you know, but she did her part at that point. And, you know, anything that goes wrong would probably due to his tyrannical behavior. But the submission is the same. It's the behavior of the men in that case that's different. But I agree.
Yes,
okay,
submission
can I jump in here?
more than trust.
Well, let me finish.
No, I'll go ahead and land the plane. So what I'm saying here is that when it comes to submission, it is going to be a choice that she still makes, but she has to see in her the husband that she wants. And that submission, i.e. trust, is what gets her across the line. If she trusts what she's seen in this guy for 3 months, 6 months, even a year, then she will say yes. Because ultimately, a woman will be cold, broke, and lonely if she chooses to. But at the same time, a woman can be cold, broke, and lonely based on how she chooses to behave. Write that down. I can see.
Okay.
I mean, that's game right there. It makes sense. Yeah. If a guy doesn't realize that, I mean, if she's lukewarm or, I mean, cold water in the way she treats you and and the way she attends to you. Come on, man, keep it moving. Like, but that's common sense. But a lot of dudes don't have that kind of common sense. A lot of dudes just don't got the game. John, obviously you got some experience. You know what I'm saying? But again, when you had mentioned, I mean, first of all, you said for your wife to be submissive, bro. If she's not even submissive as a girlfriend, how's she even getting to wife? Like,
Agreed. Yeah, you are absolutely right. But remember, that's also on us as well. Remember, it goes both ways. How are you going to expect her to be a wife if she hasn't been able to be a girlfriend? But how do you expect him to be a husband if he's yet to understand how to be a man? So it
well, I
crosses.
don't date men. I don't date men, but I'll tell you like this though. That's up to women. You know what I mean? That's up to a woman to realize what she wants in a man. And listen, we know that women barely know what they want to wear each day. So I'm not concerned about that. I think I'm a man's right. All I care about is what men are getting, and are we getting a good deal? And right now in the States, we're not getting a good deal. I think you know that. I think GC knows that. GC's a Pam. I'm on the phone. I'm so sorry, y'all. That's my daughter's grandma. She is a classic woman. Will fix a man a plate. I wanted to say that to Melissa. Gentlemen, when's the last time a woman has fixed you a plate? You know what I mean? And brought it to you. These new age women are barbecue in that sense. But that's like, again, that's a form of submission. If your women don't feed you, Lord have mercy.
Well, I mean, and that's what we were talking about when we were talking about different cultures. That's why I asked Melissa, about hers, and D2 was agreeing in the chat room. So, that is a part of it, and we are going to gravitate towards that. So definitely. I want to let me just read this super chat. Thanks a lot, Melissa. She says, thank you, gentlemen, for a healthy discussion. Thank you for coming up and having that discussion with us. It's a lot better than what was going on in the chat. I think that some things were lost in that.
Thank you.
But yeah, somebody go for it.
Yeah, thank you, Melissa, for having the medal to come up and state your opinion. A lot of people would not do so.
Absolutely, it is a bit of a lion's den. For
I wish
her,
more women weren't
being,
afraid.
Now, I'm going to be honest with the whole Melissa thing, because I didn't know that she was Latina. And it kind of gives, like, without depth. And this is what happens with a lot of non-Black women. You see encouragement of the status quo for Black women to do the things that they, as Latina, white, Asian women, aren't willing to do. They want to continue to encourage this particular behavior type to eliminate them as competition. I'm gonna be honest with you. On the surface, it would seem like that's what she's doing. I don't think that it's that direct, but I do think that there is something to be said about that. That they that the behavior is defended in order to encourage it for later. Now, before we shift topics too much, I do want to talk about the whole fidelity thing. And I'm not telling, players don't play, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is maintain a proper ethnic reputation. There's certain ways to do certain things. We as Black men have done it wrong for quite some time, and now we are cursed with the fattest, obnoxious bitches on the planet. So perhaps we should rethink this before we do the same thing to other groups of people. You guys' thoughts?
Well, for me, like I said, I wouldn't even date my main chick if they didn't know how I moved and how I moved. You know what I mean? Like who I am and how I move is what I'm saying. I think that men should be very, very open, like a bag of groceries, and tell them who you are and what you want and what your expectations are and what your long-term expectations are, and so that we can heal our reputation and better it. And that's why I do what I do and say what I say, and openly can be real amongst a group of YouTubers and people out here. So that's what I think. I think we got to
In
stop
what
lying. Men have to stop lying.
in what country do your main chick reside?
Colombia.
Okay, so and you live here or you live there?
I'm here half the year, and I'm there the other half.
Okay. I have a video. Those of you who should become members of my channel. I have a video I have a video where I feature Marco Grande. Marco Grande is a guy from LA. He's also Latin, and he has a lot of Colombian girlfriends.
Yep.
And I had him bring some of his female friends, none were his girlfriends, but some of his female friends, 4 of them to be exact, on my show so we could talk about dating Colombian women, how they feel about Black American men, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, there was a lot of questions going on. One of the questions, and this is really a caution to you, Terrell.
Yeah.
One of the questions, and they were explicit about this, about your particular situation. And they said, these young ladies said, they're not your girlfriends.
Okay.
If you think that they use the Spanish for the word foolish to describe a man who believes. Okay, to make a long story short, they don't believe in long distance relationships at all. They are sleeping with somebody else when you're not there. They admit to this on my show directly. You know, I mean, I could look it up, but it's in my members only. You know, these were reasonably attractive young ladies. They, so understand the culture too.
Yes.
When dealing, because and that's true here. That's true here. If you're in Cali and your girl's in New York, chances are she's smashing somebody else, or she's opening her options. It's really the same thing. I want brothers to take that into consideration when dealing with this. But want to hear from
I don't
John
have a
Henry.
wife, so
No, I get it.
That's their choice, right?
Bro,
That's
no,
John
I
would say.
understand. I understand that. I just want brothers to know what they're getting into.
Women have choice.
That's
So if they want to,
yeah.
And that's
I'm
what
not
it
worried
all-
about that. You know what I mean? Because I'm doing me too at the same time. If you understand.
Yeah,
where
no,
I'm
I
coming
understand
from.
that. No, I understand that you're not in love with these women, and quite frankly, I
Hello?
don't think that you care. No, I'm saying, quite frankly, I don't think that you care what they're doing when you're not there. But I still feel that you should know. But I think John Henry has something to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I was going to say is it all comes down to choice, but also we have to look at what type of behaviors are perpetuating the situation where there is always the first thought that a woman is looking for a situationship or even an entanglement. Now, when I was younger, I'm 54 now, like I said. So when I was younger, I did what everybody else did in the 90s. I had multiple girlfriends. But when it gets down to that point where you start understanding, what if it comes down to me wanting to deal with just one individual? How am I going to do this if I got 3 or 4 girls out here that I'm rolling back and forth with? The hard part is being able to find a bunch of different characteristics that you like in one person, which is where you're not going to be able to do that. All you can best do is find value in that person that they find in you, that you both can find something that you view as a commonality. The fact of the matter is, when a woman wakes up in the morning, she knows who the dude is she's looking for before she goes and brushes her damn teeth. If you happen to get her time, you're either the guy she's looking for or an acceptable alternative until what she wants comes along. And even then, you don't really know. But it's all about taking a chance. You gotta have to put your hat in the ring. You're gonna have to be willing to find out. But at the same time, when you do find out, if it's not what you're looking for, do you continue staying there hoping you can change the situation, or do you roll out and try your luck again? Too many people make the mistake of trying to stay there and make somebody that they really like what they truly want, which is not always going to be the case. In order for someone to change and meet you halfway, there has to be a level of compromise that both are willing to do. And that's not something that I see a lot of nowadays, because you'll have the fellas where we're telling everybody, oh, these chicks are nothing but hoes, don't trust them. Then we've got the females talking about these guys ain't shit, they're broke, they're dusties, don't build with the man unless he's already got something. We've already got that impasse put in place. And furthermore, when I hear a woman say that, oh, I'm not trying to build with a man, that's already a problem. But the question I have to ask is, do you already have something to get you to the line that he has? if I'm already a complete man, then you need to be a finished woman if you don't want to build with me. If I'm already built, again, you better have your stuff together before I get there. So we've got to have that particular area that we agree on. Otherwise, we're not going to make it. I'm not looking for someone who's not trying to go in the same direction I am, just because of the fact they're looking for me to provide something that they themselves cannot, but they want to get there on my coattails. Hey, a fair exchange is not a robbery. I can see.
Agreed. All right. So first off, because you said your piece and it was very poignant and articulated well, and others in the chat room, enough time to thank Ike, OG Amian, for gifting them a membership. But not one person, y'all got a free membership. Not one person said thank you. You want to know what you are? You're welfare mamas. You're welfare moms. You get something for free and you don't say thank you. You just feel like oh, I get it because of my divine meanness. No, I gave you a gift. He gave you a membership to my spectacular channel, and you didn't say thank you yet. You didn't say, I appreciate you, Ike. Thank you for, I don't know which 20 got it, but if you got it and you didn't say thank you, I'm just saying, that's you. You are a welfare mom. You have the mindset, you have the brain of a welfare mama. That's what that is. Oh, dang, he is killing it. And he did 20 more. We all please show some appreciation to Ike Omian, because this is all the reputation that you're gonna get from Africans. This is it. This is your get back for slavery. Like you need, yeah. Thank you, Snazzy. Thank you for showing appreciation. All right, there we go. There we go.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey, GC, I got to bounce, but thank you for the time to allow me to get up here and speak my piece, man. I'll try and be a little more frequent in the future.
Okay, I appreciate you, brother.
Hey, Taylor, nice to meet you. That's all right. Salute, fellas. Out.
Oh, yeah.
All right, salute, please.
Yeah, John.
All right. So, and I'm about to go in a moment too, but I want to make sure I give his thanks and his due. But what's your thoughts?
No, my thoughts. What's the topic again? Because I lost the signal, brother. That's why.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what it comes down to, and that is, I lost my train of thought for a second too. Did the player culture of the '90s affect? And maybe I'll do a whole separate video on this. Did the player culture of the '90s affect modern relationships today in a negative way? Modern Black relationships today in a negative way?
Absolutely. Listen, GC, it's real simple, right? I know you got to go. I got to go. I mean, I'm outside the family cooking. I pay for everything. So it's time for me to go eat some of this food I don't bought. You feel me? Mm-hmm. Man, listen, these women are trying, everything that men have done, women are trying to do. So men were players in the 90s, in the 2000s, whatever. Listen, forever, okay? Prince Charles had more than one. You know what I mean? Like, his current wife or queen was his mistress. So, I mean, I'm not even lying. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm not making this shit up. Women are out here trying to be like men, period. They want to be players. They talk to you like they're players. They talk to you like they're the ones banging you, right? Even though, well, shit, some men are probably getting pegged, but that a normal heterosexual relationship, these women talk to men like, yeah, I had him, yeah, I knocked him down. Like, they're talking like, yeah, and I get it. And there's a lot of dudes that, again, as I said earlier, they don't know the game, so they're out here getting rings ran around them, you know, and they're accepting anything, and they're accepting big women, and they're just. It's just bad, man. Dating is bad. It's not a good deal. So when you asked me about that beautiful, and that was a beautiful Black woman that you said with the nice breasts, you said, "Hey, would you give her a chance?" And I said, "No." Like, do you understand? GC, for me, a woman really has to show me that she is 10 toes down for me, bro. Mm-hmm. They have to, bro. You know what I'm saying? They have to show you that they're 10 toes down. Otherwise, they're everyone's girl.
Agreed. So I will say this, that it is ashamed for a man in his 30s right now who wasn't really around for the player phase, but he is living through the repercussions. Now, part of the inevitable outcome of player culture is diminished standards, because you need a multitude of women to satisfy your sexual needs, and eventually you're going to exchange quality for quantity. And I think that that's why brothers have like low standards today, because instead of for eating at one good restaurant, inevitably they're sampling so many that they're eventually going to sample the ones, the fast food restaurants with the F on the, what's that called, the FDA approval. So absolutely.
And so,
Somebody,
are you saying that they should just find one restaurant, hypothetically one woman?
I'm saying that they should maintain a standard of restaurants and eat in restaurants and eat
Okay,
at
I
them
was wondering.
rapidly.
Yeah, I was about to say, because brother, I don't know, man.
But no matter what, if you go through, if you are constantly variety chasing, then once again, that is the inevitable outcome. That's the inevitable outcome. And then also know this, and this is probably why the quality of Black women that white guys receive seem to be significantly higher. And that is because women marry down, physically speaking, but they fuck up. Meaning that if you're a woman and you're just looking to fuck, then you're going to look for a guy who is prettier than you are handsome.
True.
However, when women are looking to marry, they don't care about that as much. They will much rather marry a guy, huh?
No, I'm agreeing. I see it every week.
So I think another reason why Black men's standards have diminished is because we are selling playerness, which means that we are in a constant state of being with women who are less pretty than we are handsome in exchange for easier access.
Yeah, but I hope like eliminate that marriage talk with Black folks, because we ain't getting married like that no more. Like again,
well, and that's also a side effect of Black culture. Educated Tyrone, did you thank Ike? Or were you already a member? I want to make sure Ike get his due. All right. But Champ Car for life. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on? I'm a first time, on your program and everything else. This is a very good discussion.
Welcome.
And everything. Yeah. Believe it or not, I belong to the 54% of Black men who are single with no children and everything else. And I have to say, finding a Black woman is very difficult now.
In America.
It really is.
In America.
In America, especially in America. It's very difficult because a lot of our sisters have been ran through.
They're not
very
your
emotional, and I consider, but they're just emotionally a mess right now. Really are. They're just emotionally a mess and everything. My last relationship, I was married to a woman, Black. I was engaged to a Black woman. She wasn't in the best of shape. Okay, she was fat, but
damn.
I was engaged to her for 4 years. I was engaged to her for 4 years.
Hold on, Terrell. Let him have his...
Let me finish, okay? I was engaged to her, but she had been previously married for 10 years to a white dude, okay? And during my time with her, I saw a woman who was emotionally wrecked and, she was sweet, but she was very emotional. She was she was somewhat delusional and everything. I moved in with her after she begged me to move in with her because I really didn't want to move in. I just wanted to, just stay where I was at because I was closer to my job and everything else.
Why
And
didn't she
I
move in
was
with
there
you?
for, huh?
Why didn't she move in
Go,
with you?
well, because she didn't want to move in with because she was closer to her family. I'm about
Gotcha.
45. I'm about 45 minutes away from her now, but I was 45 minutes away from my job and everything else. And I did everything for her and everything. But at the end, we broke up because she was like, I need somebody to fulfill her needs and everything else. And you know, we broke up and everything because this was a lady who was just emotionally fractured and everything else. And I don't believe she really truly recovered from her last marriage from 10 years and everything else to a white guy who she says she caught cheating and everything else. And there are a lot of black sisters, if they've divested and everything else and they've been divorced. I mean, my recommendation, if you all listen to me, you know, I wouldn't be with a former divester. I really wouldn't. I would recommend not to go out with a former divester because those ladies, once they've been run through, they're not over the divorce and everything else. They really aren't. They're not over that. They try they try to hide it and everything else, but they don't. They can't hide it because she was telling me that she was suicidal at one point during a marriage and everything else, and she said she finally had the courage to divorce him because again she caught him cheating. Basically, what she was doing during that marriage was she was taking care of him and everything else. And when I moved in with her, it was like she was expecting me to be more to catering for her and everything else, pay for all that stuff for where I was living with her and all that. She said, we'll do 50-50 and everything else, but I was giving sometimes almost half my paycheck just to keep the lights on for her and everything else. She lived at a 2-bedroom kind of a trailer house and everything else out in Branson, Missouri, near her brother and her mother and everything. It's right across from where her mom lives. So again, I
Mhm.
would, if you are listening, I'll be careful, dating with these divestors and everything. I got to the point that if black men are gonna find love, you're gonna have to find love from a lady from overseas, really. And to some extent, even finding a non-black like a white woman here in the United here, got to be careful with that too because they've been ran through and everything else, and they'll date with you, they'll go out with you, they'll cater to you, but then again they'll probably want you to do all the things for them. They'll turn it into a simp. So I land my plane right there.
Well, let me ask you this. Are you an
Yeah.
overweight guy?
No, I'm not an overweight guy at all. I work out every day. I used to be. Back in
Why would
2000 and
well,
back in
okay,
2016, I had a mild heart attack.
okay.
So,
I'm glad that you pulled through that. But let me ask this. Why would a person who work out daily get with a woman who don't?
why would what?
And I'm not judging you. I'm not judging you.
I know,
Let's
I
start
know.
here. I'm not judging you, but I'm exploring a mentality. Why would a person who works out daily get with a woman who doesn't?
Well, because there's some men, like myself, who are looking, to find love and everything. And if they come across a woman who's got a good personality, nice sense of humor, good spirit, and everything else, then yeah, I mean, you know,
Do you have
I'll
a
go
good
ahead and
spirit and personality?
yes, I do. Yes, I do.
So you offer good spirit, personality, and a pleasing physique, and she's offering you good spirit and personality. Now you do realize
So,
having all three that it is easier to have a good spirit and good personality than it is to hit that treadmill. You do realize that she's offering you things that are easier to offer you.
Right, right. But I learned my lesson from that. I really, because some of these, like I said, these ladies here, the modern day women here, okay, they're just there for their, for their needs and everything else. They want the man to become more of a simp and everything else. Take up for her whenever she makes a mistake and everything else with her with her own bad choices and everything else. So yeah. So again, it's very difficult to find a woman here.
I think to answer the question that I asked myself is that
Yeah.
because of the difficulty of finding um, a black woman that's with a qualifying personality, you made concessions um, in the weight department. Would that be a fair assessment?
Yeah, I did. That would be a fair assessment right there. I did make concessions and everything else because even the nicest, fittest looking black woman, could be just as trashy and inside and all that.
Okay. Somebody said, and you
You
can't
don't
blame
want to be,
the brother. I don't
for
blame.
instance, you
I
don't
don't
want.
blame the brother.
Yeah, for example, Meg Thee Stallion is a fine looking sister, but would you want to go out with her?
I'd rather go out with her than a fat woman.
Really? I don't know if I can handle that because with Meg Thee Stallion with her personality, that definitely wouldn't work.
hmm
No
No,
way.
I
I
would
couldn't.
rather go out with a woman with a poor personality than an overweight woman. To me, being overweight is part of her personality. It means that she's not, she don't really care about your desires enough to make herself not fat. And that's the same as a woman who may be physically attractive, but she's out on the streets like that. She also don't care about what you want enough to not have that particular out there personality. However, at least she got some nice titties and a nice figure.
True.
So, like they're both
True.
trash, but one is trash with a nice figure, in my opinion.
The other one is trash because she's got a nice personality, but she's fat and everything else. And she wants, she's kind of like a 304, kind of this boss bitch behavior.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, once again, I would rather. I mean, if I had to choose between the two, I mean, I'm not going to settle for. I definitely require both, but um, but yeah, being overweight it really means something. It also hides like a lot of the things that you found out later about her. I don't think it's necessarily divesting that was that. I mean, that was the red flag. The true red flag is in the fact that she's overweight, and also a bit of a red flag. Also, from how you described what you were going through, is that she was eager to move in or have you move in with her. That shows that she wanted to have financial control over the relationship. She wanted to be in a position to where it was much more difficult for you to leave her, from a standpoint of having a roof over your head, then it would. But if it were reversed and she lived with you, then it would be a lot more difficult for her to leave you. She doesn't feel comfortable with you behind the steering wheel, as an analogy for control of a relationship. It's not homosexuality, Trump, for because he had his own place. It would be homosexuality if he didn't have his own place, but it's not that. She wanted to she wanted to have the control over him as if he were a homosexual, though he wasn't. Am I correct in my assessment? Interrupt me at any point if I'm wrong. If you think
You do make some, you do make sense on that, because again, I was I had my own place and everything else, which I still do and everything, but I did not want to drive down 45 minutes every day from working because that's putting a lot of stress on my car, which I had to end up getting a new car during that relationship because my car broke down. I had another issue when my mom's car wasn't licensed legally and everything else, we had to pay the sales tax here in the state of Missouri,
Mhm.
and I couldn't drive the car legally. So I will say this: I'm glad we did
Wait,
break up,
wait, wait. What
though.
do you mean sales tax on the car? Every state is different, and
Well, okay.
we
I'm in the
have
state of
taxes on
Missouri.
everything, but that's paid at the time of purchasing the car. We have sales
No,
taxes.
aren't.
You're saying that there's a separate tax
Yes,
on the car?
yeah, yes. You gotta pay. You gotta pay that. You gotta pay
Okay.
property tax here. Oh my
Every state's
goodness.
different.
So
All right, all right.
yeah, every state. Yeah, every state system. That's why. I love Missouri. It's an affordable place to stay and live, but I don't like this store. I don't like this. I don't like the sales tax. I mean, it's just terrible.
Well,
The way how
no,
they
no.
just
We have sales tax too in California. What I'm asking is, you said that you couldn't drive your car
No, I
because of a
couldn't drive my
tax.
mother's car. I had a chance to borrow I had a chance to drive my mother's car, but I couldn't get it licensed because I had to pay the sales tax on it, which was close up to $700 to pay for it. So
So
I mean, I was taking it.
okay, I'm every state. You got to break this down because I don't know what's going on. Like there some type of garnish going on because you can't pay like here, for example.
Well, that was
If you
well, that
can't
was a
buy,
couple years
if you can't
ago.
pay, the sales tax is immediate, meaning that when you buy the car, if you buy like a $10,000 car, then there's an extra $825 on it, and that's sales tax. But if you don't pay that, you don't get the car. So
Well, you get the
what's
car,
going
but
on
you
there?
if you
What's with the
okay,
$700?
okay. Once you purchase the car, if you want to have driver's your driver's tags and all that type of stuff, you have to pay a sales tax on that. That's what you have to do to get it
Registration
licensed.
fee. You're talking
Registration
about
fee.
a registration. Okay, see, that's why you got to call it right because you
Yeah,
have me over
registration
here
fee.
confused as I
That's
don't
what
know
I
what.
meant.
You have
Yeah, that's
okay,
what I meant.
okay, I got you. So
Yeah.
she
Yeah, that
had
was a couple years ago.
yeah, I got you. Okay.
So that was a couple years ago. But since then, I've moved forward and everything. And again, I still date a lot of women and everything else. But, I'm not investing in a long-term relationship at this time because again, my last relationship, I need to be careful with that, with some of these ladies out here.
Somebody asked the questions. Are you still going after big girls?
No.
So the recent women that you've dated have been collarbone women, or some women who are, somewhere in the realm of physical fitness that you are.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm doing.
How have you found them different personality wise?
Well, personality wise, I have I talk to them, I send them texts, they send me texts, ask me how I'm doing and everything, and they check up on me. These are mainly a lot of white women that do that. They
Okay.
check up on me. So so but like I said, I'm not quite ready for a long-term relationship quite yet because again, I want to be sure that if they are committed to a long-term relationship, are they going to be with me, for the long haul? Are you willing to split 50-50? Right now I have my own place, right, currently,
Mhm.
but are you ready to make the next step until we tie the knot and everything else and then we get to move in together and everything else? Because I don't want to make the same mistake like I did the last time. And I think some men do that too. The lady, begs and pleads and all that type of stuff to move in with them and everything. And then next thing you know, they get tied up with them and everything because she wants financial access to your your to the money that you make at work.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of women do get with guys for financial security. That doesn't mean that that's the sole reason that they're with the guy, but that is definitely a reason. You know,
Yeah, it is. It is a reason, though. It's not the sole reason, but it is a reason.
Yeah. No, I definitely understand that. I'm sorry, I'm reading this thing, and apparently, yeah, I'm reading this message from YouTube regarding
Yeah, I'm
copyright
reading this
strikes
too. It's exactly. We
on a
don't
thing. So
need to
I'm
be. We
multitasking,
need
but
to be
no,
honest.
I definitely get what you're saying, brother. Well, I mean, I do wish you the best. You know, it's good that you are looking for women who are more your speed, and it's also good that you're opening yourself up. You know, as far as ethnicity goes.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
in the
that's
next couple of weeks, I'm supposed to go down to the library to go get my passport. So, I am going to start traveling a lot next year.
wait. Okay, I got mine from the post office. They got them in libraries.
Yeah, I mean you get it at the post office, but I think it's a little bit affordable here to get it at the library too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, whatever works, and yeah, congratulations. It's good that you are expanding your options. You know, it's sad the circumstances that made you that required that you had to expand your options, but you did, and now you have a healthier selection. You know, both physically and otherwise. So, definitely good. I don't tell people how to live their lives here. I'm not an advice show, but I will say that. No, I'm not. I'm not. I don't give people game, so to speak, because I don't want to be responsible for the results. But I will say that the to be cautious if a woman were to ask you to live with her as opposed to the other way around, or getting the
I
place
know
together.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I'm sure you
I'm not
experienced
going
it
to
while
do
living
that.
with your ex fiance. That the power dynamic shifts in her favor, and some women aren't mature enough to handle that shift in a
Yeah,
non-tyrannical way. So yeah, just have that takeaway as well. And yeah, look for what you work for. You work on yourself. You work on your physique. So yeah, that's definitely something to consider.
yeah,
All right,
definitely.
but once
All
again, I
right.
mean, you can stay up if you like. I'm going to play the rest of this before I go. All right, but
Okay,
let me give a shout out to
I'll go on mute.
Ronald Calhoun. Okay, let me give a shout out to Ronald Calhoun for the Cash App. Greatly appreciate you. I didn't see when I seen you in the chat. I seen that you had your last name there, but I put you in the matrix. But I put you as Ronald C because I didn't know that you had the last name, but you have it in the chat room. So greatly appreciate you, brother. You are still there. Why is Melissa there, not Ike? Okay, yeah, Ike is here. Okay, so somebody says she just realized it. Yeah, so the names of the people, once again, in the chat room are the red are the channel members, and the green is the people who sent Cash App Super Chats today, and greatly appreciate both. All right, so let me watch the rest of it.
Working class modern woman with this type of mindset will be able to support a high value man. There are so many things that the average working class woman would have to learn, and that is a fact. And it all starts with you. You cannot use these shaming tactics. You cannot be disrespectful. Try to use the same type of tactics that you are using towards your supervisor. Maybe you'll be able to have a relationship that works better than the last one you had. That's today's video, everybody.
Okay, so we was close to the end, but she says, as your supervisor, meaning that, and this is something that a lot of modern women, particularly a lot of Black women, struggle with, and that is putting the men in a default position of authority. They don't feel comfortable doing that. And that is going to be a strong and unfortunate hindrance for a lot of Black women, for as long as they refuse to do so. Don't get me wrong, they have a valid fear that there won't be reciprocity on the Black man's part, but nevertheless, I don't see a better way out of this situation. So, yeah, I want to thank everybody. This was an impromptu. I seen this Sarai Brooks thing, and I also had this thought from the conversation I had with Bernard yesterday that I want to share with you all. So I greatly appreciate people turning out. A special thanks to Ike, who has gifted 40 people memberships. So, those of you who have become recent members, go ahead and check out some of my members only content where I talk about, why South American women are winning over over African women. I also have one there where I interview for Colombiana women, and they do tell us, the lowdown when it comes to things like scopolamine, where it comes to a lot. Also, the classic Theo Wolff versus Grinch is there. So yeah, this gives you an opportunity to check those things out. So once again, shout out to Ike. Shout out to everybody who is currently a member and the new members through Ike. The Cash App Super Chats, managers and moderators, those who are listening silently and those who participate in the chat, those who came up, the panelists, and everyone. Greatly appreciate you. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out. This is GameChanger 00100. Game over. Peace.